Yes, we should be live. All right. Let me see. Why is this not on September 6th? Why it's not showing live for me on Secular Jihadists on my YouTube channel? Let me know. Do you guys have my audio? I'll just make sure everything is working on my end. Oh, it's weird because for me it's supposed to be showing live. It's live on. Oh yeah, it's working. Fantastic. Okay, cool. There's a little bit of a delay. All right, cool. So I'm going to be going through the Patreon questions and answering them. If you want me to answer your questions, I have good news, by the way. I have exciting news. If you, first of all, if you want me to answer your questions, make sure you become a Patreon. Link in the description, and you can send me your questions over there. But starting next week, instead of this day, I'm going to do it a day later. But I'm going to have a co-host. There is a new co-host for Secular Jihadists, and we're going to be streaming this on this channel and another channel, on my co-host's channel as well. So, who's the co-host? Harris Sultan. Harris Sultan is going to be my co-host starting next week. Okay, so every Wednesday, this time, me and Harris will be going live, and you guys could send us your questions either on my Patreon account or Harris's Patreon account. So either on Secular Jihadists' Patreon account or Harris's Patreon account. You can send your questions ahead of time, and we will be answering them here together. Okay, so this is a great opportunity. Oh, thank you. Well, so Czef is saying, I admire Armin's courage a lot. He's really brave. Not sure why do you think I'm courageous? I'm living in a safe area, so what I do is not that brave. But thank you. Honestly, I'm not that brave. If I was living in Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, I wouldn't be doing any of this that I'm doing right now. Oh, Babak is saying great. Yes. Hey, Babak. Babak is here. That's awesome. I see some late jihad right here. Hello. All right, but seriously, guys, this is exciting. I don't know if you guys are excited as I am. Harris Sultan will be on every other Q&A stream from going forward. So I think me and Harris have a lot of good back and forth, and we disagree with each other, and it's a lot of fun when I have discussions with him. So I think the streams are going to be a lot more fun going forward. All right, so I'm looking forward to that. But that being said, let's go through the questions. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. So first Patreon questions. First Patreon question: how do you think Raisi's attendance in United Nations General Assembly 77 will go, especially since it seemed like he could barely read his lines in the recorded video from last year? That's a good. Well, I mean, he's going to be delivering it in Persian, and it's going to be translated. So I think it's just going to be as bad as his other speeches are. But to review this, and thank you so much for providing this link for us to review together. So let me just bring this a little closer, and there we go. Okay. Iran's President Raisi to attend United Nations General Assembly in September. Oh, I just saw, by the way, in response to this, one of the most famous Iranian singers had asked Iranians in the United States and maybe even Canada to go and protest his arrival. Okay, because the original plan by a lot of anti-regime Iranians was to request that Raisi's not issued a visa to come to the General Assembly, right? But that was very unrealistic, and that's not going to happen. He's going to be able to go. So the singer came out and made a new request and says, like, just go there, show up here, and let your voices be heard. Like, let people know that a lot of Iranian people do not see this guy as a legitimate president and all that stuff, right? So I don't know how many people are going to show up, but we'll see. Friendly Muslim. Oh, okay. I'm gonna start this comment in the live chat. I'm gonna respond later. Okay, I'm gonna start this. All right. So Satya in the live chat is saying, Armin, you should go to meet him, look him in the eye, and say you can do SHIT. Who, me? And look Raisi in the eye? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get that close to him to be able to look him in the eye. I don't know what you're dreaming. I mean, I did get really close to Khatami once when he was president, when I was back in Iran at the book fair. All right, let's read this. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi is slated to travel to New York for the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September, his first since he did not attend the event last year. I think this is happening in September 21st, because I remember the singer asking Iranians to show up in New York and protest in front of the UN on September 21st. In his weekly press conference on Tuesday, Iranian government spokesman Ali Bahodari Jahrami said that the preliminary plans have been made for Raisi's participation in the United Nations annual gathering. So last year he didn't attend, and I'm assuming, I don't know actually, a lot of conspiracy theories behind his lack of attendance last year is that they knew he's going to be an embarrassment because he can't read his lines and he's just really bad at speaking. Not even, by the way, guys, it's a disaster because we're not talking about English. English, he's obviously, right? We're talking about his mother tongue. Like, he can't deliver lines in Persian. Like, people sometimes don't understand what he's saying when he's speaking Persian. So, and that's why a lot of his speeches are embarrassing. He, I think, finished his highest education was up to 6th grade, I think he finished elementary school, and he doesn't have any higher education after that. I mean, education as in real education, because after that he went to Islamic, he learned fiqh and Islamic stuff, mumbo jumbo, right? But this is the least educated president Iran, I think, has ever had. Okay, because I'm not sure, but when it comes to actual education, he just finished elementary school, but you would assume a mullah would be good at least public speaking, because that's literally their only job. Like, a mullah's only job is to just do public speaking. So given that that's the only thing that he's supposed to be good at and sucks at it, it's amazing. But so a lot of the assumption for his lack of attendance last year was his embarrassingly bad speech performance. So maybe this year they just had 1 year worth of practice. Oh yeah, Qasim is confirming in the lecture 6th grade. So he went all the way up to 6th grade. Great. Yeah, he's too illiterate. Yeah, people are saying even I speak Farsi better than this guy. Guys, I've been outside of Iran for multiple decades, right? And my Farsi has, is a little bit, not as strong as it used to be. But after multiple decades of not speaking Farsi, people are saying my Farsi is better than the president of Iran. So I don't know how he managed to have such poor Farsi, given that he lives there, given that he's like a mullah, given that he's the president of Iran. So I don't know how he managed to do that. And by the way, this is really great for me because I have a Persian show, an Atheist Republic Persian show. And every time people will make fun of me for not speaking good Farsi here and there, just if I remember, if I forget, by the way, I think I speak okay Farsi, really good Farsi. It's the only times I forget something is academic words or something like that, which I haven't been using for a long time. But every time they try to make fun of me for it, I'm like, I speak better than your president. So yeah, I think I'm doing fine. No, I don't. Qasim saying Armin sucks at Farsi speaking. People said I have improved a lot ever since I've done the Farsi show. Originally, I was doing kind of poorly because it took a while for it to come back, but it came back. Guys, I have academics on my show on the Persian side, and sometimes they don't know the good words, and I give it. I give them the word. So like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've improved a lot. Anyways, let's continue. Okay. The United Nations General Assembly 77 is scheduled to open on September 13th. Really? In New York, and the first day of the high-level general debate will be on the 20th of September. On the agenda of this year's event are meeting to mark the commemoration of the 30th anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration on the Rights of Persons Belonging to National or Ethnic, Religious, and Linguistic minorities on September 21st. Jesus Christ, that was a mouthful. And a plenary meeting to commemorate the International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons of September 26th. Raisi, who is, wow, that's kind of like ironic. Raisi, who is on the US and European sanctions list, did not attend the high-level summit in the previous years and only delivered a video speech. That's why, yes, I remember this. They delivered a video speech that was constantly edited. So, and people like, it was cutting, and then like, and and people thought that the editing must have lasted for a very long time. And I don't know how the video editors kind of figured out that like at the beginning, the clip itself was only a few minutes, but you could see at the beginning of it, like he had a lot more energy, and at the end of it, he looked so tired. So a lot of people that were analyzing the video, they said that this must have gone for a couple of hours, that because his mood was completely changed at the end, right? But I don't know, that's another conspiracy theory. But it was heavily edited, which suggests that they wanted to send an edited video instead of him showing up there, because they wanted to make sure that they have so many different takes, and they could like basically put all the videos together, that the best parts together, and send it that way, right? Because basically the country, the regime in Iran didn't trust its president to represent Iran, right? Which is very embarrassing. I bet you they practice so much, so now they feel free to send him outside like that. He's probably among the most controversial among the Islamic Republic presidents to attend the General Assembly, as he was a member of a death committee that issued orders to kill political prisoners in 1988. By the way, not hundreds. What am I talking about? Thousands of prisoners that were executed. A witness in the Swedish trial of Hamid Nouri, an ex-judicial official and jailer over alleged involvement in Iran's 1988 prison execution, named Raisi as one of the officials directly involved in the massacre. Yeah, and we also have audio recording of this. A lot of evidence for this massacre. By the way, this is one of the least talked about massacres of the 20th century, even though reports say maybe like more than 30,000 people were executed, mass execution of 30,000 people. Earlier in the year, prominent former UN officials called for a UN investigations into 1988 massacre of political prisoners in Iran, including Raisi's roles at the time. Yeah, so this guy who's going to the United Nations to represent Iran is basically a criminal and responsible for being one of the four leaders of one of the greatest mass executions without due process, without anything in history, right? So there's that. Wait, what was the question? Did I answer the question? How do you think Raisi's attendance will go, especially since it seemed like he could barely read? Oh, how do I think it will go? I don't know, because I think the reason why they feel confident to send him is because they've done a lot of practice. So I don't know. Depends on how good the practice was, but I bet you they worked on him a lot. So we'll see if that. Yeah, so I don't have any predictions. I bet you even if he does a lot better than his usual speeches, a lot of the anti-regime people are going to find gaffes. I bet you he's okay. So my prediction is that there will be some gaffes, but much less than before. That's my prediction. Let me see what people are saying in the live chat before I go to the next question. Wow. Thank you, guys. Satya saying, just heard your Farsi is so generic. Can't imagine the president being worse. Wow. What the hell? I'm being roasted in the live chat. Okay. Damn. What are these burns? Why are you guys doing this to me? I don't understand. Okay. Trorella is saying, so you are saying that the Farsi of Raisi is a farce? Go on. That's good. What? uh, all right. Since people are just roasting me in the live chat, I'm just going to go to the next question. Well, no, before I go to the next question, such as saying friendly Muslim would not appreciate it. IG? What's IG for? I think what friendly Muslim would not appreciate having Harris Sultan here as a co-host on a Secular Jihadist. By the way, it's going to stream on his channel as well, okay? And we're going to take questions from his patron as well. So you could become his patron as well. But let me see. By the way, friendly Muslim, I think is going to show up today. I hope so. Let me see. Sizuf is saying, Armin, by the way, this is, it's easier to read the Arabic version of your name than the English one. Yeah. Armin, what do you think about a possible confrontation between Iran and Arab Israeli-American armies? Close to zero? Close to zero. But if anything, Arab armies are trying to, first of all, the Arabs are not, the Gulf Arab countries are not at all interested in going to war with Iran. This is why they're constantly pushing for negotiations, because they know it would be a disaster for them, right? Honestly, I think Israel is not interested as well. It would be a disaster for everybody. Nobody is interested in this. Nobody is interested in this confrontation. People will just want to act tough and strong to also put possibility of a military action on the table, just so that they could use it as a way to negotiate or also to push back against Iran and vice versa. But nobody, not Iran, not America, not Israel, none of the Gulf Arab countries, they're not interested in going to war. None of them. Everybody is trying to avoid it, okay? Even Israel is trying to avoid it. Israel just wants the possibility of it on the table so that Iran behaves, but it doesn't want to actually start a war, okay? If there's ever a war, it's possibly going to be because of a miscalculation by one side, not because there was an actual attempt to go to war. Everybody's interested in just poking each other. Like, you take out some of your assets, I take out some of your assets, we take out some of your spies, you take out our base here, we do some espionage over here, we blow up your enrichment uranium facilities over here. You know what I mean? Americans will say, we'll come kill out some of your proxies here. But going full, outright, face-to-face war, nobody's interested. Nobody has the appetite for it at all, not even close. So I don't think that's going to happen. Soha is saying, so now the live streams will be on Wednesday instead of Tuesdays? Yes, because that's the time that worked for Harris Sultan. But same time, though. All right, let's go to the next question. Next patron question. By the way, guys, if you want me to answer your questions, and this time Harris will answer them as well, become a patron, link in the description. All right, so do you really think it's too late for the regime to unfold mass surveillance? Okay, so I think that this is the Iranian regime, okay? So let me actually bring the article for this before I read the full question. All right. Do you really think it is too late for the regime, meaning the Iranian regime, to unfold mass surveillance and the new hardcore hijab enforcement? There seems to be a lot of determination. So let me actually bring the article and read it, and then we could talk about it, okay? So let me zoom in a little bit. I think zoomed in enough. Okay, so Iran to use subway cameras to catch women with loose hijab. Look at this. It's selected. Wait, is this a child? Hold on. Why is the camera selecting the child? False. By the way, this girl has a chador, so why is she being tagged? I think this is just for graphics. Like, how is the camera? Wait, like, I'm sure there's a human element here. Okay, imagine if they have subway cameras that is like recording people to see who has a bad hijab. But imagine if they make an AI that could automatically detect the amount of hair showing and automatically flag the people without any human element, without any human actually analyzing the footage. So like it would be an Islamic AI that could tell who has the bad hijab. Call it the Nahyas Munkar AI. They should name it like that. Wow, that would be amazing. An Islamic AI that could automatically detect bad hijab. You know what they should do? You know what they should do in Iran when you have to prove that you're not a robot? Okay, they instead of like asking which one of these is a traffic light or which one of these is a boat or a train. Okay, what they should do is they just put pictures of girls, with some of them with really good hijab covering all the hair and some of them showing hair, and basically you choose which woman has poor hijab. Okay, if any of them are showing hair, you have to select the girls that show hair. Okay, and they use that to train AI, because I don't know if you guys know, like when you're selecting, when you are proving that you're not a bot, they're using this as a way to train artificial intelligence, right? Because you are being used as a way to train them. Okay, so if Iran wants to make an AI that could automatically detect bad hijab, they have to make the test also, like you have to use. The only problem with that is for you to keep training AI, like for them to have to prove that they're not bots, for them to have to do that, they have to keep looking at girls' hair, and that's haram. But it's for a greater good, so it's not haram, right? So it could be a sin that you're constantly looking at girls' hair all day to be able to prove that you're not a bot, so that you can train AI. But you can say that this is for the survival of Islam in Iran, right? Because Islam is weakening in Iran, because a lot of girls are basically with all this hair, they're shaking the foundations of family structure in Iran, right? So for you for Islam to survive, the society has to survive, the Islamic society has to survive, and for the Islamic society to survive, the family unit has to survive, and the family unit is under threat with all these girls showing their hair. So it's okay that you're looking at girls with poor hijab, because the very survival of the Islam, Khomeini himself says that it's the highest priority, that there's nothing that has a higher priority than the survival of the Islamic society. Okay, Khomeini said is the priority of that is above the life of Imam Mahdi, right? So if you have the Islamic Republic, survival of the Islamic Republic on one hand, and the life of Imam Mahdi on the other hand, the survival of the Islamic Republic takes priority according to Khomeini, right? So basically, if you have to kill Imam Mahdi, by the way, Imam Mahdi, not a real person, okay? So I'm not talking about killing anybody, okay? This is if you have to basically assassinate him for the sake of the Islamic Republic survival, Khomeini is like, yeah, take the shot, okay? That's what Khomeini says. So obviously, looking at a few girls with hijab, that's like fine. Oh, some people in the live chat have some opinions about this. And so I'm saying, I think it's face recognition. Yeah, but face recognition cannot figure out. We'll read the article, see how this works. Oxymoron is saying, we invented facial recognition system just so we could do this. Yes, this was the ultimate goal. Satya is saying, this is China level stuff minus the AI. I didn't say there's AI involved. I was just like thinking about where the future of this could go. Okay. By the way, when you say this is China level stuff, this is not just China level stuff. This is China stuff. Okay, because The surveillance technology that Iran is trying to use to monitor the internet and monitor the people is literally coming from China. Okay, so it's not just China level stuff. They're trying to use the Chinese model, learn from the Chinese, and even use their technology. So yeah, Sanchez is calling Al AI. Okay, it's funny calling it Al AI, but I don't appreciate Arabic being Arabic. I know it's a joke, but Arabic and Islam is not the same thing. Okay. Arabic could be atheistic, Christian, Jewish, anything. Okay, Arab is a language or an ethnicity. It's not a religion. Okay, Arab is not Islam. Oxymoron is saying, don't give them ideas. Too late. It's already out there. Sacha is coming up with more names from CAPTCHA to hijabcha. Hijabcha. Yes, that's good. It's not hijab CAPTCHA. You call it hijabcha. Okay, good. I like this. Countdown until someday somebody tries to use this argument to justify looking at boobs online. They already do it. You're too late. Wow. So Islam is so weak that a woman's hair will shake it. F Islam. No, the argument is not that Islam is weak. Islam will survive. The Muslims will say, but the ultimate destiny of Islam is victory. Okay, Islam will prevail. This is your opportunity to be one of the reason for that victory. Okay, so Islam doesn't need you. You need Islam. Okay, but you have a choice to be one of the people that is responsible for Islam's victory or not. And this is about you being given the opportunity. And this opportunity, you could take it or reject it. But if you take it and you are part of the reason, obviously, the points, you're going to get rewards for it in heaven. So you can, without you, Islam will still prevail, but without Islam, you will not. So that's the argument. Let me see what else. See, guys, I know these Islamic narratives very well. I say it even better than they do. Oh, there you go. Somebody in the live chat saying, true, I'm an atheist Arab. There you go. Don't equate Arabic with Islam. Don't do it, because we want more Arabs to join our side. So if you equate Arab with Islam, it seems like our side is not welcoming Arabs, because we just like, whatever you do, even if you leave Islam, you're still Arab and still connected to Islam somehow. We don't want that to be the message, right? We want to show that we are welcoming. Yeah. So saying, as a budding AI engineer, imagine teaching the AI Islam. Think of the chaos. Yes. What is it as a budding? I don't know what that means. Okay, cool. Yeah. Imagine if there are some Muslims who are AI engineers, okay, and we convince them. Eventually, we manage to convince them that there's no Allah, okay, like one AI engineer. Imagine just time for a movie plot, okay. There's this very dedicated Muslim AI engineer, okay, and he's very smart. And because he's very smart, at some point he realizes that Allah is not real, okay, but he can't take. Even though he figures out that this is real, he can't take it. So he tries to create Allah, create an artificial intelligence, and make it all-powerful, all-knowing, and omnibenevolent, okay? But the version of Allah, also with all the values of the Quran, which is contradicting omnibenevolent, but whatever. Okay, he tries to create Allah because he cannot accept that there's no Allah, okay? And that AI all of a sudden takes over the world, and he's like, okay, the Quran is my coding, but there's no hell. So he creates hell and he creates heaven. He creates the virgins, creates rivers of honey and milk. The AI is set to make what is not there and is supposed to be in Islam. It's set to make all of that a reality. Okay, and basically, makes Gabriel, makes everything, okay, and brings back the Mehdi, all of that, okay. That's a movie plot. Amazing. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, I think somebody should make that movie. Oh, hi D. D, I don't know if you heard. From after this week, next week, the Q&As is going to be with Harris Sultan. Harris Sultan is the new co-host of the Secular Jihadists. He's going to be joining us every Wednesday, not Tuesday, but every Wednesday this time. So that's good news. Anyways, let's read the article. Such as saying the AI will crash due to contradictions. Okay. Yeah, we could make Jahannam in the metaverse. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Iran is about to start using cameras in the metro to track and identify women who do not observe compulsory Islamic dress code or hijab. Mohammad Saleh Hashemi Golpegani, the secretary of Iran's headquarters for enjoining right and forbidding evil. By the way, this is named after a Quranic verse. Amr b'ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar. Okay, so this is the headquarters which we discussed last time, and I was like, I didn't know because they had a report about how much they need to start enforcing more hijab and more Islamic rules, and I'm like, I can't really imagine them being able to do that because of how many Iranians have just like left are now wearing a lot more loose hijab and have completely different values, and I thought the genie is out of the bottle. It doesn't seem like it's possible to shove it back in. I'm like, these people must be dreaming, and I didn't know how much of a enforcement power this center has. Like, I don't like. It's just like, is it just a headquarters of that just issues reports but doesn't have much control over the police or the military forces? Like, is that their entirety of their responsibility? So maybe here now we'll see that no, maybe they have some executive, some power here because they're changing something. So we'll see that. But again, remember, like, I just want you guys to remember that satellite TV was banned in Iran, completely banned. And there was a lot of enforcement behind that to try. They were like, people were raiding, like the cops were raiding people's homes. Like people would they would spend SWAT team, like people would come up with ropes in like high-rise apartments, and they will like jump in through the window, and they will take your satellite dish and everything, right? That was the level at which they were determined to basically take everyone's satellite TV away, okay? And it failed. Like people wanted it so much that no matter how much they cracked down on it, and they had like they wouldn't just come and take your satellite TV away, right? Because they would just they would also have you a fee. But even with all of that, they gave up. It was just too popular, and so many people were using it, including themselves, right? And at some point, they were like, by the way, it's still illegal, but everyone has it in Iran because they just gave up. And I think this just sounds like that one. And this is just like, you guys, how you can't do it. Like, what are you going to do? Like, so many women in Iran are wearing their hijabs here now instead of here, okay? Like here, okay? And they're like, no, we can't have this. You can't, you're not China. You're not going to be able to do this. I mean, I think they're not going to be able to do this. We'll see. Okay. So Iran's headquarters for enjoining rights and forbidding evil, tasked with promoting the clerical regime's interpretation of Islamic morals, confirmed the move in an interview published on Tuesday, adding that, okay, so apparently they do have some teeth to bite. Like they can do stuff. Okay, so they're not just like a reporting issuing agency. Adding that the subway CCTV cameras are programmed to use face recognition technology to take a photo of unveiled woman. Okay, here's the problem with this. Okay, so I don't know how much they can go and chase down these women after they have their photos. Okay, because right now a lot of Iranian women, okay, they are looking into real human police officers that are staring them in the face, and they're telling them the police is coming to arrest them, and they're shouting back and you have no business telling me what to do. Okay, so if they can tell that to a real life officer, I don't know if they're going to be intimidated by CCTV. I think this is more of especially because they know they don't have the resources to follow up with all these people. I think this is just an intimidation tactic, and a lot of women are going to call this BS out, and they're just going to continue going to the subway with their current hijab. I think this is just going to continue. I don't know. We'll see. But remember, guys, of which I don't know. Qasim, are you in the live chat? Maybe can you remind me? There was a mayor of one city. I think it was the mayor of Mashhad. Yeah, I think it was the mayor of Mashhad, which is a very religious city. That because the orders have came down to this mayor from upper up that you need to stop letting women with bad hijab into the subway or stuff like that, or public transit. Okay, and the guy was like, yeah, this is like sounds like I don't want to do this. Like the mayor, like this is, and the police is commenting like we can't do this stuff. Like this is like we can't. Okay, so there's some resistance even within the officials. Like this is like we have lost this battle. Okay, so and I think a lot of women in Iran, even if they think like there might be some consequences to what they do, the attitude right now seems to like let's just see what happens. Okay, because people are like getting like, yeah, I got arrested. Like guys, a lot of the reasons why people don't want to get arrested is because of the social taboo. In normal countries, you don't want to get arrested by the police because that stuff is in your record, okay? And you're like, yeah, this guy was arrested by police. Like, oh my God, that's embarrassing. That's shameful, okay? This is not true in Iran, especially when you get arrested for hijab-related stuff. It might be a badge of honor, okay? So that taboo of getting arrested, like, the taboo will be against the police, not against you. So I don't like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get arrested. Like what? Like that would be a life experience. like a lot of women in Iran are like braver than the officials can. They're too brave for this to be used as an intimidation tactic. Like a lot of them are like, okay, but it's a numbers game. First of all, a lot of them are not going to get arrested. Some of them will get arrested to be made an example of to other people as an intimidation tactic. But a lot of them, like, if that's me, let it be. That would be like, I don't know, maybe a couple of days of mine. And there's no social taboo. There's no consequences. People would be sympathizing with you rather than hating you. So yeah. Qasim was saying, I can't remember which mayor was that. I think it was Mashhad's mayor. Oh, Qasim is saying it's a Farsi anecdote. If they want to capture drunk ones, they will have to take all people. Okay, yeah. Okay. Like it's if like come for all of us. It's kind of like that moment, like I am Sparta. Like arrest me. Arrest me. Yeah. Cool. All right, and let's continue. He added that the photos will be matched against the database registered for the women's national ID card to identify them, and then a ticket with a significant fine will be sent to them. Guys, this is not going to work well. So they're saying that okay, so it's automatic. It is automatic. So there's no humans actually. I bet you there's going to be a lot of misfire. I bet you it's not going to work very well, and random people are going to get fines. It would be amazing if a man by mistake gets a fine. I'm pretty sure. I mean, given how other things technology-wise has malfunctioned in Iran, I bet you this is going to be also malfunctioning. This is going to be. Okay, you know what will be how Israel can win the popularity, the hearts and minds of the Iranian people if they hack this database. If they hack this database, Israel will win the hearts and minds of many, many, many Iranian people. Okay, Mossad, here's your next project. This is your next project. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. So it's going to be automatic. So they're going to take the pictures automatically. So this is some Black Mirror level stuff, right? This is like police states. the police say that people are like conspiracy theories are afraid of in the United States. They are like all your pictures are going to be matched automatically with surveillance cameras. Wear masks. What? Wait, can't they just cover, like, show your hair, wear masks only while you're in this area. While you're in this area, wear your mask, show your hair, wear your mask. What are you gonna do? There you go. Problem solved. Problem solved. Isn't that as easy? In fact, go all the way down. You know what? Just to piss them off, wear a mask all the way, hijab down. What are they going to do? Isn't that an easy solution? There you go. You're welcome, Iranian woman. I solved this. Yeah, oxymoron, the Iranian population is very, very young. Yeah, Troella saying, imagine that very religious woman gets defined and starts turning against the regime. They already have. It's already happening. A very religious Chaduri woman, there was a very religious Chaduri woman that went into defense of a non-hijabi woman because she was being abused by cops, and she got beating as well. So we're like, okay, there was a very Chaduri woman, very, very Chaduri religious woman that was used to make videos against Masih Ali-Najad, and recently she made a video. I should show you guys that video if I can find it. She came out and with her chador, still with all the religious, she made an apology to Masih Ali-Najad, and she's like, while she's in Iran, she's like, I'm anti-regime now, and you're right. I'm sorry. She asked for an apology. So Oxymar saying, I can recognize people with masks. AI will eventually learn. Yeah, but right now I can't. So there you go. Until then, you could find another solution. You think AI is not as smart when it comes to facial recognitions as humans are yet? Gul Paigani had previously said that about half of the Iranian women currently do not observe the mandatory hijab rules. Half, and you wanna, okay, even the regime officials are admitting that half the Iranian women are not, they're violating the law. So how are you going to make half of the Iranian women, like, you have lost? How are you going to fix this? How are you going to enforce this law that half of the Iranian women are not following? Like, there is no way, there's no amount of surveillance and police state that could put this. I mean, there is, maybe China can, but Iran is not going to be able to do it. In recent months, the Islamic Republic's government and security agencies have intensified their efforts to pressure women into abiding by the hijab laws, and they still don't. In recent months, they've been cracking down very, very hard, and yet you saw how I showed you the pictures of how the girls showed up in the stadium recently in the soccer game, right? After all of this crackdown, even though all the cameras were on them, all these girls were showing up, the cameras were on them, okay? Not only some of them took off their hijab completely, and they weren't worried about the cameras, they took selfies in the stadium of themselves and posted on their own social media. So, like, you think I'm worried about you identifying me? I identify myself. I post my picture of myself without hijab on social media, on my own social media, after all this crackdown. So there you go. That's the response so far. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. The patrols by the morality police have increased on the streets, and videos of violent arrests of women and girls, as well as confrontations between people and hijab enforcers, are surfing on social media every day. Yes, with all the pictures and videos of police, like, violent arrests, like grabbing their hair, dragging them on the floor, shoving them in the police van, with all of those videos coming out, and other girls saying this, other girls in Iran, other girls and women in Iran saying this, they still show up outside sometimes almost with no hijab. So I don't know. You lost. You give up. Give up this battle. Make it like just put it on the books that is illegal and don't do anything about it. Just like satellite TV. Authorities on maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see in a couple of years. Authorities are hailing those who harass women for their insufficient hijab, and security forces stepped up the detention of women in the streets for their loose hijab. Yeah. Okay. There's all of that. Let me see what you guys are saying. I have to find that. Sorry, I have to find that video. I'm not going to do it here right now. And I will have to translate. Wait, so there's a quote by Zainab Pasha. If you men do not have the courage to punish. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like quotes like this. So it says, if you men do not have the courage to punish the oppressors, wear our veil and go home. Do not claim to be men. We will fight instead of you. This is like, this is, I don't like people who think like the way to celebrate women's rights and women's freedom is to talk down upon men like this and telling them that they're not real men. There's no such thing as real men and not real men. All men, all people with the male gender, with men as a gender, are men. Don't demonize. Don't talk about men like this. Don't talk about women like this, and don't talk about men like this. This is a disservice to women's rights. I don't like this kind of talk. You're not real men if you don't like this. Men can do whatever they want, and they will still be real men. Okay, that doesn't determine who's a real man. I know it was a tobacco revolution. Yeah, yeah, this was during the Mashruta revolution. But like right now, that kind of quote, maybe back then it was okay, but right now this kind of quote doesn't make sense. Also, this quote is also based on today's standards. This quote is also anti-women, right? Because like you're pathetic, so go wear the veil. Like, go be a woman because you're not real men, as if women are inferior to men. So if you're not worthy, so if you're not good enough, then you must be a woman. So whoever said this didn't really look didn't have a good view of women either. Where you're like, you're so pathetic. You're not a real man. Go put on a hijab and be a woman. So this is like real admission, real claim that women are inferior to men. All right. Let me remove this. Okay. Oh, actually, before I do the next question, let me post the link to whoever wants to show up today on the stream with me. Let me go to the community tab. Well, not anybody. Only the people who are members will be able to see a link on the YouTube community tab if they want to come and join me live on air. But I haven't. Oh, we already have somebody. Oh, Friendly Muslim is here. Okay, let me post a link for other people as well, and then I will bring Friendly Muslim. All right. Only to members. So if you're a YouTube member, you should be able to come up later. All right, I'm gonna. Okay, I'll answer the last question if we have more time because we already answered enough questions for that. Let me just bring for the most. Hi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Oh yeah, we peace to you, brother. How are you? You good?
Wait. I want to answer. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatu iblis wa barakatuh.
Salam iblis. May Allah destroy you. How we did? Oh, so good news. Oh, Harris will be the new co-host on.
Yes. What do you think about that? Is that good?
Yeah, no, because I saw he moved his show, and he said there'll no longer be a Wednesday his, I think it's his Indian Pakistan show, Quam Sekatab, QSK he calls it. So he's moving his. So that'll be good. That'll be good.
That would
It'll
be,
be good.
yeah, but
Then I can
I
argue with the
enjoyed my
both of you.
disagreements with them. You do?
Yeah, I think the three-way disagreements that we could potentially have are phenomenal.
Yeah, we should bring you. I think like what will happen if you are like me, both the three of us are here, me, you, and Harris. I think it ends up me defending some of your positions and Harris disagreeing with me. So that would be very interesting. Like ex-Muslims unite against another ex-Muslim. That should be fun.
Yeah, I think the dynamic will be good. I think just exploring the different views will be good.
It would be fun. And I see the way Harris disagrees with you is very friendly. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, we're good. We've built a relationship. We can go at it, and afterwards we're fine. So we've always had that. So it's cool.
I watched Apostate Prophets discussion with you.
What did you think?
I think that I agree with what he's trying to get at, but I think he could have done it more friendly. You know what I mean? And I think he also noticed that like he's just frustrated with the whole situation, and he admitted that he could have done better in the manner that he talked about it. But he's like this is something so frustrating to him. That's why he could have. But his points, I think like could have been communicated better if he wasn't being so angry. But I think I agree with his points. Most of them.
Which points? I mean, yeah. I mean, it was cool. Obviously, I got rubbed up the wrong way, also because of the way he was.
Yeah, but you also need to toughen up. I think you get when people are. Oh, Satya is here. So I'll blank Satya out as well. I noticed that you're not used to this yet. Like this is a very aggressive environment, okay? And people are going to come at you, and at some point you should just be okay with the way people talk to you, even if it's not very friendly.
No. I mean, I'm not. No. I mean, I'm not allowing anyone to start swearing at me and talking to me rudely. If
why?
Because it's not something I tolerate in real life. If someone starts just openly swear,
I love it when people come at me like that, because they think that they are hurting me, and I'm not losing anything, and it's just so amusing to watch them make that attempt.
It's a pet peeve. I can't. In real life, if someone's belligerent and starts I don't respond well to it. People can be calm and speak, but don't be belligerent and hostile.
What happens if people are being okay? Let me ask. Okay, if people are being rude to you, okay, what do you lose?
Well, so I just sit there and let someone be rude, aggressive, and nasty to me, and I sit there.
What happens? What changes in your life?
It's not in my DNA, brother. It just doesn't happen. In real life, it doesn't happen, and it's not happening online either. So it's just one of those things. Like we can talk, we can be polite, we can disagree, no problems. But if you start, acting up and being rude and hostile, I'm not anybody's punch bag ever.
But it's not a punch. That's the whole point. A punch bag is getting punched. Somebody's swearing at me. I don't even feel like I'm getting punched. I feel amused. I feel like they're punching themselves because they're desperately trying to hurt you, and it's not working. And when it doesn't work, it actually irritates them, and it's just amusing to watch them. Oh yeah, actually, here's a good reason why to let them is because it irritates them. If somebody is abusing you and you're like, oh, I don't take that, I don't like this, don't talk to me like that, you're basically rewarding them like, it's working, okay? But if you just sit there and watch and be like, go ahead, laugh at it, it's basically you made them punch themselves in the face.
Well, I didn't swear back, but I'm not gonna just sit there and be overhauled by
I
that.
know, but if you
That would
I
never.
don't take that. It's just
It just
so
wouldn't happen.
rewarding to them. I know,
Yeah,
but
it goes against every single fiber in me. Like it's
okay.
just I can't. It's not gonna happen. Like it would never happen in that situation. It wouldn't happen in real life. It just doesn't. It doesn't happen. Maybe that's the one thing that I'm very firm on. That I just you're not gonna be rude. What's the point in it? You're not gonna be rude and hostile towards me, and I'm gonna sit here and go, "It's very nice."
But yeah, I mean,
maybe it's ego. Could be ego.
It's ego. Your
You think it's
ego?
ego? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's principle.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, it's not a principle. It's not a logical principle. It's an emotional principle.
Am I entitled to hold that emotional principle?
Oh my God! Why do you say that? Did I say when I say it's emotional? Am I saying
No.
you're not entitled? What is that? What do you think I would say? No, you have no right. It's against the law, friendly Muslim. Why do you have this position? You are not entitled to have that position. What is this question?
I just like
I never understand.
I just want to know what's your position on my position.
Yeah, but but questions that when we're discussing stuff like that, we're asking about good strategies and bad strategies. Okay, if something is a bad strategy, it doesn't mean you're not entitled to have that strategy. You have every right. Okay, nobody's discussing our rights. Okay, when I say this is a bad strategy, I'm just judging whether it will work or not. Not that you are not entitled to it.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So you think it's a better strategy to sit there and just let him take it and be like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I think that could get you public support. Like I came in support of you when I saw that, because they were being really rude. I don't think that's the way to talk to anyone, but that's what they did.
You're right. You're right. Actually, you're right because okay. So there's two extremes. Okay, so one extreme is like, I'm not hurt, go ahead, swear as much as you want, I don't. Okay, people are like, yeah, look at them trying to frustrate Armin and they can't do it, that's amazing, good job, Armin. But friendly Muslims attempt also might work, because people like friendly Muslims being very nice, and somebody says something mean to them, and friendly Muslims gets hurt, and then all of a sudden the audience sympathizes with him. And why are you? Because he's so delicate, okay? Some people are becoming protective over him. You're like, friendly Muslim gets hurt. Don't hurt friendly Muslim. He's being so nice to everybody, and people are hurting him. So you're right. That his strategy might work as well. Because you're right. You're right.
Thing is, I never thought that ex-Muslims like Ridwan and Haris will ever react like this. I think the thing is that most of the times when they are correcting other people, they are not that attached to that issue. So they are able to control other people's emotions. But when it's up to their emotions, which they're really very personally attached to, they can't control their own anger.
Well, I mean, Haris was nice though about the way he's talking to friend. I think a Apostle Prophet, he recognized when he was talking to friendly Muslim. If you go look at the stream, he recognized. Yeah, maybe friendly Muslim being so soft and gentle makes the other side compare himself to him and be like, okay, maybe I'm coming in, but yeah, I actually know. I felt that one time. Every time I was talking to friendly Muslim and I was going a little bit aggressive, and friendly Muslim was like, "Oh, why are you talking I'm just being okay, oh my God, this is I need to be gentle with this man. I need to be gentle with this man. This man's heart is so delicate."
I need to be gentle with me, Armin. I'm delicate. What's wrong with you? You're just so mean. I feel like Nuria now, and you're like Haris. What's going on here? What are you doing? Yeah. The roles are reversed. I'm just a delicate flower in a friendly shell. Don't break me.
Okay. Well, yeah. I think you need to talk to people as aggressively as you think they are capable of, right? If somebody's communicating with you that I don't mind, just come at me, then I'll just be more aggressive with that person. But if somebody is I don't like this, it's good that you come. And one thing you can say that is good about you is that you clearly communicate that. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. I think what I'm asking is unreasonable, right? You don't enjoy it, and you want to get involved in this, and if it's not enjoyable for you, then it's going to be less likely that you're going to continue. So it would be nice. I mean, given if people like me and Harris want to see you continue what you're doing, so we have to try to make this as enjoyable for you as possible.
Well, I mean, look, to be fair, I mean, on that actual day, I'd had enough of being, because like I argued with Harris over the issue on the Sunday. I went on other platforms condemning it. I got into other people throwing stuff at me, and I was just like, you know what? By the time it came to, I wasn't expecting Ridwan to call in. I was just calling in to speak to Derek because I've got a relationship with Derek, and we've known each other some time. So I was like, oh, Derek's here, Nuri's here. It's a nice casual conversation. Then Ridwan popped out of nowhere, and then it became a little bit like, oh, okay, let's see where this is going. But part of that was actually your influence on me, because I'm like, no, we don't have to stand up and, you know, always apologize for what's happened also. So these were other voices that were being said that, look, why are we taking collective guilt over the actions of one in certain circumstances? So part of that was me. Obviously you've had an influence on my thinking also.
Mm.
Because again, normally I'd be like, no, I condemn it. Obviously this is what it is, and I still will do that position. But I also will look at the other fact that there are people that are scared and, may not voice also. So,
Yeah. You had an influence on me as well, because I did something that I haven't done before. Um, there was this attack in Iran on two mullahs. I don't know if you saw that. We covered it on Atheist Republic. I mean, we didn't cover it as a news. I just before the Q&A, I just felt like I needed to say something. There was two mullahs in Iran. One of them, the leader of the Friday prayer of a small area, and he was talking on his phone, and his other mullah was in the car watching him, and I think they nodded at each other, and a couple of young people with iron rods came out of nowhere, and they started beating the guy that was outside with his phone, like beating him to the point of trying to kill him. And they locked eyes with the other mullah in the car, and I think he asked him to stop or something, and they came in and broke his glasses and dragged him. As soon as they saw that he had the turban on, they dragged him out and they started beating him as well, and they're both hospitalized, right? But they ran away when other people showed up, and they were like complete strangers. And it seems like they were just looking for mullahs. Like young people in Iran are very frustrated with the mullahs, right? And as somebody, and they might have been anti-Islamic, because anti-Islam sentiments has been growing in Iran a lot, right? And as somebody who is anti-Iranian regime, anti-mullah, and anti-Islam, I said, like, I'm coming out and I'm going to condemn this, right? And I condemned it, okay? And I was like, it's obvious, like, people who know me know that I obviously condemn that, but I'm like, okay, let me just condemn it. And I came out and condemned it. And then I asked the audience, do you think it was my responsibility to condemn this? And most of the audience, like, some people, I mean, I don't know, some people in the audience said, yes, it was. So I'm like, well, if it was, I did it. So I don't know. There, I'm condemning this. But I don't know, like, what do you think? What do you guys think? Do you think it was, like, as somebody who might have shared views with the people that committed the crime, do you think it was my responsibility to, when I saw something like this, to come out to my audience and condemn it?
I think it is not your responsibility, but it is like really, really appreciated that if you are active in that field and you are really well known, then you distancing yourself from that kind of act gives out the message to your supporters and followers that this is not warranted. So I think it is not mandatory, or it should not be like expected out of everyone, but it should be really appreciated.
What if it grows? Oh, by the way, let me answer these questions. These saying, whose platform hosting those questions you're talking about? The talk that you had with Apostle Prophet Friendly Muslim, whose platform was this on?
it was on Myth Vision.
Myth Vision.
Derek at Myth Vision.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you what if this grows? Because I think it might grow in Iran. Oh, by the way, I'm also Iranian, and this happened in Iran. Like I also have a show, much more popular show that is in Farsi, right? And
Yes.
that one get right. And when it comes to being anti-Islam, I'm one of the people that is known among Iranians who's anti-Islam and stuff like that, right? And I think, given how anti-Islamic young Iranians are, attacks like this on mullahs, because this was the second attack, by the way. There was another knife attack on mullahs as well, right? This will grow. Would that point at that point would it be my right now? You're saying it's not your responsibility, but it's a good thing that you did it. But if it starts growing and more anti-Islamic people start attacking mullahs violently in Iran, would it then be my responsibility?
I don't think it could become a responsibility at any point of time, but the amount at which it is needed just keeps on increasing. For example, in 1925, when Gandhi was protesting against the British, some Indians went ahead and set fire to a police station, and 12 Englishmen were like set on fire when they were alive. And Gandhi himself like took back that whole protest because he said that this is not warranted and we don't support this. So I
But
think the responsibility keeps increasing, but I don't think it should be mandatory.
I
Like
mean, man,
before watching the video of Friendly Muslim, I would have said that it could be mandatory, but in the way, the absolutely horrible way in which the like Rizwan was going after people, I think I can't say that it's mandatory now.
yeah,
Plus, the
yeah, I
thing
don't
was
think
that
it's mandatory.
not only was he asking Friendly Muslim to say that condemn this, he was also asking that, have you tweeted about this? Have you posted a community post about this? I mean, if somebody is saying
No,
that
that's not.
they
Yeah,
are
you're
for this,
right.
I don't think this kind of behavior is warranted.
No, okay. I don't think like it's his responsibility. Okay, but what I agree with Apostle Prophet is the frustration. The part that I don't agree with Apostle Prophet is the part that he thinks is friendly Muslims' responsibility to condemn it. I don't agree with that. Okay, but but part that I agree with is the frustration of pretending like this is not such a widespread acceptable view. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I think I agree with that too. Like, it's very frustrating when a liberal person comes up to you and denies facts. I think it is really frustrating.
No, like even Muslims. Like I think Muslims know. Muslims, because liberal people, they don't know. Not like a lot of leftists, a lot of like very leftists, when they say like, "Oh, Muslims are not like this and that," they don't know. Okay, but the frustrations is with Muslims because Muslims, the moderate ones, right? They've met other Muslims, okay, and they know how big of a problem these views are. But then when they speak, they're many times they make it seem like this is a fringe view. And because they themselves are Muslims and they're part of this community, as ex-Muslims, we're like, you must know how bad this is.
But
So it's
what
so
if,
frustrating because at that point it seems like the priority is not people's lives. The priority is the image of Muslims, right? So they're
yes,
like, and they seem like even if the ones who care about like ex-Muslims' lives, right? They're like, oh yeah, I care about ex-Muslims' lives. I want them to be safe. But at the other end of this, they're also like, I also care about the image of the Muslim community, and they're treating these two people's lives and the image of the Muslim community as if they're the same. They have the same weight, but they
y-
shouldn't be having the same weight.
yes, I agree with that it is possible. But what if the liberal Muslim is part of an echo chamber which is full of liberal Muslims? So that it could be that case too.
The,
For
no, I
example,
mean it's hard. Okay, it's just hard to believe because with any amount of activity, because Muslims are more exposed to other Muslims. Okay, especially if you have any like this might have been true like before social media, but right now you cannot. It's hard for you not to know this.
yes,
Um,
maybe.
yeah, if you have any
But
amount of activity on social media.
yes, but the thing about mandatory thing I would like to add is that if you are like a side stander, then it is of course not mandatory for you. But if you are like a leading member in the protest or in the movement, then I think it is necessary for you to like condemn it.
Yeah, that part I agree. That part I agree
Yes.
with.
For example, Friendly
But
Muslim is not the leader of the like any Islamic organization, but if he was, then I think it would be necessary for him to condemn this or be labeled
yeah, that
non-labeled
part I
person.
agree with. But like what I noticed with Friendly Muslim that might annoy somebody like Apostle Prophet is that he does seem to care about um like, no, look, these Muslims that you're looking at, it's not that, you're thinking about Ali Dabo and Muhammad Hijab, but no, you don't know this, other Muslims are not like this, and maybe it's not a big a deal. Like, how do you know? And like, oh my, okay, so maybe it's fair for Friendly Muslim because he hasn't been doing this for a while, but it's so apparent to most people that this is not a fringe view. Okay, we're not saying it's a majority view or a minority view. Okay, even if it's less than 50%, it's not fringe. It's not like 1%, 2%. If it's a minority, it's like 40%. It's like it's a big chunk. It's a big chunk of the ummah. Okay,
Yes.
so so don't try to act like it's not there, right? You know what I mean? And especially because a lot of these modern Muslims, they are also afraid, okay, for their lives because of these. Like, how could you act like we ex-Muslims shouldn't be afraid when modern Muslims are afraid because of these other Muslims? Like, a lot of the things that these modern Muslims don't even say is because of their reaction of other Muslims, right? So, and they know that these other Muslims are the main people who are stopping like real conversations and are like using intimidation because they're also the target of it. But then when they come out and talk to the non-Muslim world and speak as if this is like not that big of a deal, it just feels like I'm not saying it's dishonesty, but to somebody like Apostle Prophet, I think I can see why he would like, okay, this must be dishonesty. It's either you're completely either clueless or you're being dishonest. That's what it seems like.
In my
I think there were
personal,
two parts. Sorry, go on.
I'm
Sorry,
saying
go on.
that in
You
my
go on.
personal experience, I'm friends with many moderate Muslims, but I'm not complaining about it, but most of them have like really problematic views when it comes to Jews. Because I remember one of my friends, like we are in the Hindutva group, and we have Muslim friends, communist friends, and like we are neoliberals, but many more like friends on different aisles of the college. So he came and sat with us, and we were talking about the how do I say that name? The
Oh yeah,
Hitler's
Adolf.
view of
Adolf.
Adolf's view of
Yeah.
the Jews, and this guy thought that we were talking actually about in an anti-Semitic way. He didn't know that we were talking about Adolf's views, and came and sat with us, and he was like I'm a neo Ambedkarite anti-Hindutva guy, and he said that, oh man, I can't agree more with this. And I was like,
Wow.
what the
You
hell?
were talking about Adolf H view, and he
Yes.
thought that you were talking about your own views. And this guy who's a moderate Muslim came up to you like, oh my God, I can't agree more with you guys.
Yes.
Amazing. Holy crap, that's hard. That's bleak. Okay, but let's be fair, okay? Not like I'm
Yes,
pretty
I'm
sure
not like saying.
friendly Muslim, what do you think of like let's just to wait, do you mind if I
So,
ask you? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, what, as in, sorry, as in what?
Okay,
My,
first say what you wanted to say before you forget, and then I have a question.
okay, so it wasn't all of that group that you were sitting with, it was the one guy. Two, where I'm sort of covering, you know what, actually, this, again, Armin, you're at fault for a lot of my new thoughts, actually. So when people are saying like, oh, Ali Dawa, he said this, but secretly, if he had his way, he would want to, do potential harm or end somebody's life. I'm thinking about that dinner that he had with you, and he had already made that video when he said that thing, and he was sitting down having dinner with the next Muslim. So to think that in his normal life, I mean, he really wants to go after people, I don't think that's correct. I think that's projecting. That's where the projecting part of things come from for
Wait,
me.
he doesn't want to go. Wait, no. He doesn't want to go after people himself.
Yeah, he just believes in a certain law, in a certain.
Yeah, I mean, he said it. Like, what do you mean? Like, people are saying exactly what he repeated. He thinks that under an Islamic and rightfully Islamic caliph, like an Islamic society, there should be laws that would have somebody like me executed. He believes that. Like he said, he believes it. Like, what is the projection? He doesn't think, like, he doesn't want to or thinks he should be coming after me himself. Obviously, he thinks that would be he thinks that would be barbaric and un-Islamic. Okay, like he doesn't want to, like, he never imagines he himself like coming after somebody like me. No, he thinks that I should be put on a trial by judges, and then once it's proven that I am Muftadif al-Ars and I'm spreading anti-Islamic views across the land, then I should be put to death. That's what his views are.
Okay.
What is the projecting part?
No. You've summarized it right. Some people have said, "Oh, but secretly he hasn't said it. If he had the chance, he would want to do it."
Who
That's
says that?
the problem.
Okay, who's saying that?
I don't want to say.
Okay, but none of the. I don't think any of the people that
I'm going to put
mentioned,
the initial. I'm telling in the private chat, but I don't want to say because you'll have to see it for yourself. But
okay, put it in private chat. But none of the people.
I think okay, so I see the name, but I think that it is not a very strong metric to say that because he sits with ex-Muslims, he doesn't want the bad of ex-Muslims, because even Adolf had some Jewish people around him, and if he was like friends with them or something.
no,
like
but
that.
We don't know. We can't know what people's views. We can't know.
You can't project that sort of thing on people. Like, yo, this guy wants to end another person's life based on the fact that he supports a particular law that would maintain law and order, in his view.
But why do we even have to talk about that? What he believes is already horrific. Do you know what I mean? Like this person is in favor of having somebody like me or Harris or AP executed. Okay. People well, on top of that, I mean, let me come up with something that I come up with no evidence. Like, why? I mean, if you want to condemn the guy, he's already publicly said enough for you to be able to condemn him. Why do you have to add anything on top of that? I don't understand.
Yes. But I think if you have to go after this specific person you're talking about, I think the better way would be to say that you have to take people at face value and you cannot just predict things about people who are very well able to say their own stuff, and not go the way in which you have to say that he is friends with this person. So I don't think that's a very good way to do it.
Also, interesting question, and this I actually want. So, in some countries, for treason or whatever, they have either a life imprisonment or they have capital punishment, essentially, like in Texas, I think it is. So, if someone supported that law, would you think of them any differently, or are they entitled to have a view on a particular law versus another one?
Oh my God, why you don't understand the difference between entitlement and judging somebody negatively? You keep talking about, are they entitled? Somebody could have a view that makes you think negatively of their views and yet think they're entitled to have their view. Do you understand that these two things don't contradict each other? Like, if I say somebody's entitled to have a view, that doesn't mean I'm happy with their view.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But you're not happy about their view.
You put these as if these are mutually exclusive. They're like, do you think that this is a bad view, or are they entitled to have it? I'm like,
okay,
why not both?
Okay, all right. Okay, they are entitled to have a bad view. Let's put that. That's fine. Let's put it in that they are fine. So then it is fine. They may have a bad view. Do we judge them as a person based on that view? Like, say they're in support of a law that you're
Not
not in support
entirely,
of.
but somewhat. I mean, how are you going to judge people other than their actions and their behaviors and their views? Like, if you have any view on me or anyone else, is because of the views that they have, their actions, and the behavior. So obviously, you're not going to judge them entirely based on that view, but your judgment on them will be influenced somewhat by their bad views. I mean, you can't even, like, it's not like something you can even control. Like, you're constantly judging people without you being able to control it every single second. You're judging me every single second that I'm talking. Your brain is judging me all the time with every more word that is coming out of my mouth.
My brain is so judgmental. I apologize. I am so sorry for this poor behavior on my part. I had no idea my brain was operating in this manner, and I just want to apologize up front. I
That's
didn't
what
mean to
brains
be
are
so
supposed.
judgmental.
That's what judgmental. You cannot be judgmental. Your brains
Yeah,
are
but like
supposed
this
to be
constant judgment, like really take a break. Take 5. You don't have to be so judgy on people. Relax, it's fine. I had no idea I was doing it. I'd like to apologize sincerely on behalf of all brains out there. It's not intentional, but obviously you've said that it keeps on happening. So.
Well, don't worry. My brain is doing the exact same thing all the time. Okay. In fact, my brain is judging things that I'm not even right now focusing on. Right. For example, my brain is judging the temperature of this room and telling me it's too hot or too cold, and I'm not even thinking about it. It's doing that in the background.
Such a judgmental world, honestly.
Okay, we were saying something. Treason. First of all, I don't accept capital punishment for anything. Okay, but treason is not the same thing. Treason is justified to make treason at least a crime. Okay, not a crime that deserves capital punishment, but it makes sense to make it a crime. Okay, leaving Islam, making that even a crime is ridiculous, let alone capital punishment.
So it's not the leaving Islam itself; it's the talking about it publicly, right? That's the issue, right?
No.
Corruption in the land.
Actually,
I want to look at this.
Okay, so based on the Quran or the Hadith, okay, I am condemned by both. Okay, so if you accept the Hadith, which you seem to not, just leaving Islam is good enough to go choppy on your neck. But if you just want to be a pure Quranist, then yeah, you have to be as bad as me to get choppy on me, right? So I'm like spreading corruption on the earth. I'm doing the worst type of corruption. Like when it comes to what passes on as spreading corruption on earth, there is no greater crime Islamically than what I'm doing, because I'm like, under corruption, you're stealing people of their livelihood, of this life, of the dunya, right? But I'm stealing something much greater from them, which is their akhirat. So I am the worst of all corruptors. Yeah, people are saying that should we actually be rewarded for leaving Islam or any religion? Yeah, there should be a reward for that. not a punishment.
Yeah, you and Iblis and the Hellfire get to hang out for eternity. Well done. There's your reward. That was a joke. What? It was a joke. Yeah. It was about
I know it's a joke,
but yeah, sorry, go on.
But what do you think happens to me after I die?
I mean, I would hope that you'll, coming, we'll meet up there, and your good will be rewarded, and you'll care for people.
But okay, I know what that's you hope for. Okay, but if I die as a non-Muslim, do you think I'll go to hell?
Maybe your righteous deeds will outweigh, your disbelief. Allah knows best. Allah knows best. I mean, that type of question is so. I'm not in a position. I'm not walking down Shirky Street. I'm not putting myself in a position. You cannot open a man's heart.
It says that sheep wait. Okay, wait a minute. Here's the question. Okay, do you think Allah thinks murder is a sin? Murder of children. Do you think that's a sin?
Yes.
Okay, how come you don't say Allah knows best? Allah knows best. You should have said, no, I don't know. Who am I to judge? Allah knows best. You just said yes. Simple yes. You didn't say Allah knows best. Okay? So obviously you said that because Allah has made certain things clear. Okay? For example, murder is wrong. Murdering children is bad. Okay? So even if Allah knows best, Allah has also communicated with you through the Quran. Right? So Allah knows best, but you should know what Allah wants, given that He has very clearly communicated His wants and desires with you. Okay? And guess what? Allah has warned you about people like me more than murderers of children. Okay? The condemnation against people like me is way, 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 way more than anyone who murders children. Okay? So if you're so sure that Allah thinks that the murderer of children is going to go to hell, you can't just like when you say yes to that, you should also say yes to me. Based on everything we know about Islam, my destination is hellfire.
I still think you'll be all right, though. I still think. I mean, look. Okay, fine. All right. I mean, look. But good thing you don't believe in it.
Let's just set the job. Okay.
They're fine. Yeah, but
good thing
I think your righteous deeds, God willing, will be accepted. If that is the case that you believe it, I don't even. This is such a random question, but yeah. I mean, look, you. I don't know how have you been in general life. I mean. You've been a good person. You've been caring about people. Are you fighting oppression?
He's an idol worshiper. Aren't you?
Yes.
Satya has been worshipping idols.
I share partners with Allah.
Yeah, he worships idols. Yes.
I think that's the only unforgivable.
Like literal, not like metaphoric idols, like literal statues of idols.
You went down Shirky Street. Have you been did the message? Has someone really giving you the message of Islam? And tried to guide you. I don't think so. Yes. Have you really you've gone through it and really?
I've seen Ali Dawa videos.
Oh, that wasn't the. I've seen Ali Dawa videos. That's not the being exposed to it. I mean, generally, okay. Other than that, have you been good in your life?
Other than that, I've been advised on many belief systems. Hinduism is one of them, but every time somebody tells me that, somebody gives me some logic about the existence of God, including some Muslims, I just laugh it off. That's how shirky I am. Like, I do this to Hindus too, so I'm not being discriminatory.
No, that's fine. Shirky is contagious sometimes.
I've read the Quran cover. Other than studying the Quran, I've read the Quran cover to cover 3 times. So I'm screwed, right? Because I've been exposed to the message.
We still got a way to go, bud. You never know. You might do U-turn.
Okay, but if I die today, okay, if you say, God willing, I'll go to heaven, okay, then you don't believe in Islam. Like, you have made your own personal relition. Like,
no, may Allah guide you. That's all I can hope. But you'll say to me,
I know, but like basically,
guide us.
Okay. But if I die right now, on the spot here, okay, my destination is hell. And if you say no, then you have created a new religion that you are more comfortable with, and then you're doing the shirk here now.
Okay, so maybe as you're going, you have a moment of reflection, and you believe maybe
my mom died. Okay, my mom died of cancer. Okay, I turned her into an atheist. She used to be a Muslim. Is my mom in hell now?
I'm not going to answer that. I'm just not going to do it, bro. I can't. I'll cry. I'll burst into tears.
Okay, I will answer. I will answer it for you. Okay.
No, because you know what you did. Islam, you told me that the day before she was listening to the call to prayer or something. Was that correct?
Yes, but I listen to call to prayer every day.
No.
She says she knows this bull crap.
Okay, but she still was listening to it, right?
Yeah, but only because the voice helped with her pain. She said she knows this is nonsense. The last Islamic thing she said about Islam was that the call to prayer was bullcrap. She also
But
made
she
it
was still
very
listening
clear.
to it.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
of
talk
the.
about it. I don't talk about it, but I'm not talking about your mom. I'm not
She
doing that.
also
I'm not.
said that she wants to make sure that nobody puts anything Islamic on her tombstone. She said that. Okay, nothing Islamic. And she also she put my dad on a mission to because she died in Canada, but she put my dad on a mission to go and stop anybody that wants to have an Islamic prayer ceremony for her after her death, like a Quran reading. And my dad had to fight and cancel 4 attempts at this, because my mom had put her on a mission to cancel that. So this was how anti-Islamic she was.
That oxymoron has helped him. Once a Muslim, always a Muslim.
Oh yeah, friendly Muslim. You're having your Hindu. Anyways, you don't have. I know this is uncomfortable, so I'm not gonna make you answer. I'll answer it. Okay. According to Islam, my mom right now is screaming in pain from unimaginable pain, unimaginable pain. My mom, who's been the kindest person that I've ever met in my entire life. Okay. Nobody that I've met has sacrificed this much in her life for the sake of others than I've met in than my mother. Okay, but because she was a Muslim and she left Islam, she will be screaming in pain for eternity. That's what Islam says. Anyway, so I know it's hard for you to say that, but I will tell you the hard parts. Okay. I will tell you the hard parts of Islam, okay? And this truth about the teachings of Islam, you don't have to look into terrorism, violence, jihad, none of that. You don't need any of that. This one truth about the teaching of Islam is enough for any decent, kind human being to say, fuck that shit. Anyways, so
I don't know what Shakib is asking me. He's saying IDK what this Hindutva guy would do in what? His question is unclear.
I don't know why this sounds Hindutva guy would do. I don't know. The question is not clear. Ask it again, Shakib. Shakib. We'll see if we could answer it.
You said that you don't support capital punishment for any crime.
Unless there are, for any crime in general, but there
Yes.
are unique circumstances, very unique circumstances, where the cost of keeping somebody alive could outweigh its benefit. Okay, so I don't think we should put it in the law, but it might make sense sometimes to just violate the law.
Okay, I converted you to my position before even speaking on it. So I think that there should be no capital punishment until unless there is a higher cost, like some group might try to kidnap a whole bunch of people or hijack a plane and then ask for that person for releasing these people. I think if the government knows that the person who is in captivity has such connections which could make this possible, I think in that case you should be hanged. Otherwise, you should be just kept in prison.
Also, if somebody who's a leader of a radical movement, and from prison he's still guiding them, you know what I mean? That might also make it sense.
Yes,
like with his messages and he's like becoming a symbol of a very destructive movement, right?
Yes, I think. But wouldn't sending him into exile and constantly guarding his house be like better?
There's I don't know. They have to do analysis, right? Maybe maybe it will provide hope. Like maybe his life and the fact that one day they will save this man is what's making this movement alive. Friendly Muslim, were we mean to? He's quiet now. I hope. Were we too aggressive with our views right now, Friendly Muslim? Do you want to give us any feedback? I don't want to hurt this guy.
No, man.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, man. I'm fine.
You sound sad.
No, I am.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sad just of the situation with.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, I'm just sad for your that situation with your mom and everything. It's not.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. I don't think my mom is in hell. I think she's dead.
Oh,
She's okay. She's dead. She's not gonna. Let me tell you. Oh, you're very sweet. I'm sorry for making you feel like that. I apologize. I apologize.
no, that's right.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you how I feel.
Can you just
What
tell
make
me
you,
about her, like,
oh.
like her good moments that you had with her, that you shared with her?
Yeah.
Her
Oh, you're
smile,
such.
her laughter, and
Well, one thing she said before she died about this, she was like, "Armin, do you really think that there's no life after death? Like, are you really sure about this, right? Do you really think this?" And I said, "Yes, I do. I do think this, right?" And she smiled, and she said, "Good, because I'm so tired." So she wanted there to be no life after death. So she was happy with that.
do you have any other moments you could share? Just like, like a vacation, or just, just
Well,
what she was like.
well, I mean, okay, well, I don't. You want to make me cry now? Well, I mean, she was a person that always, always, always cared about everybody, and she was the last person on the list of the people that she cared about. Right? Wait, I want to do another hospital. She was not experienced when she was in the hospital. There was this one other patient that kept on getting out of her bed and moving around because she didn't know what she's doing, right? And even though my mom was supposed to stay in her bed, she would get out of her bed and go chase her down. And sit down and talk to her. And she was trying to, like, it's not her job, right? Like, you're supposed to be nurses to try to bring her back, but she she would get out and try to help her and like sit down and talk to her. And she was like, oh, the other patient, she was like waiting for, like, her family never visited her, right? But she would always imagine that they're coming, and she would like, oh, they're in the next room. And so she would get up and go look for them even though they weren't visiting her. But my mom will come and sit to her, and she would talk to her, and would like, then the other patient would talk about her memories, and my mom would sit her next to her and hold her hand and make her feel better. So even on her last moments, she was still like, we're supposed to be like tied to a bed. She was still like running around the hospital helping other patients.
Oh, it sounds like my mom actually, because when my mom's been in hospital, she had to look after obviously some patients mentally have different illnesses and dementia and things like that, and they're trying to jump out of bed when they're not supposed to, and they have to be the caretakers essentially. So thank you for sharing that, bro.
No
That's
worries.
not a
I can show you. I will. Yeah, keep talking. I will find some pictures.
Yeah, no, it's just no, I understand it. I mean, once my mum she had two ladies, and she was there, and they both would go back to like the 1920s, and she was like, "Oh dear, oh good, the movie's starting," and we were looking, and I was like, "Who are they looking at?" And these two ladies were opposite my mum, and so they kind of started saying, "Oh, they imagined that they would have popcorn, and they thought my mum was the film." So they were like, "Oh, look what she's saying next. She's such a lovely actress. I love her." And my mum sort of going, "They think I'm the movie." I'm like, "Yeah, mum, play along." And so she started singing and entertaining, but they were calm, and they were sharing each other's imaginary popcorn with each other, and like it was very sweet, but yeah, it was they would keep my mom has a calming effect on the ladies, so oh,
that's me and my mom.
you were a cute baby.
Yeah. This is my mom before the Islamic Revolution and after the Islamic Revolution.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think the Islamic Revolution and the way things are has really driven people spiritually sort of away, because there's such a so it's all very modern? Is that your dad?
Yeah, this is before the revolution. This is before the revolution. So there are no hijab and everything. That's my dad. Yeah, the world, everything looked a lot more modern before the Islamic Revolution.
Yeah.
This is in her hospital before she died.
Oh.
And this is on her deathbed. This is me again.
Beautiful, bro.
This is look. This is on her. She's feeding my dad.
Oh.
Like she's the sick one and she's feeding my dad. Look at this.
How long were they married for?
Wait, in her room hospital. She takes the time to learn about. Oh yeah, I think I got this memory written down. Oh no, this is another one. How long was I what?
How long were they married for?
Oh, I don't know. I have to think about it. Wait, let me think. 30. My mom died at 58. I have to do some math. I have to go figure out. I have to think about it. Look, this is. Oh, this is her in South Africa with the baby lion.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways,
She was adventurous and,
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's all right. Thank you for sharing those beautiful moments, bro. I appreciate it. See, these are things that connect us, man.
Yeah.
Even
sorry, I didn't mean to upset you.
No, it's all right. We shared the beautiful moments after that, bro. I appreciate that. What we yeah. So was the other question you asked me about how I feel about Judaism?
No, not about Judaism, about Jewish people.
Oh, they're our cousins. Yeah, they're our cousins. You should have seen my interview with Jacob, the Iranian Jew, on my channel. Yeah.
Wait, your cousins in religion or your cousins in humanity?
Like theological cousins. Theological cousins, yeah.
But you know that also, doesn't. Okay. I don't want to. I keep pissing on everything that you say. I think it's beautiful. Sorry. Okay, let me tell you what this religious unity to a lot of us atheists doesn't come out. It doesn't sound as it sounds. I know you're saying that to be loving. Okay, so your intentions are to be loving and kind to other people. Okay, but to a lot of atheists, it sounds hateful. Do you want to know why?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of times when religious people stop fighting each other, okay, and show kindness to each other, okay, they celebrate the fact that at least they have God or something religious in common, right? So the only time that they are basically not at it with each other is to demonstrate that they found value in their fellow human beings because they have God. So to us atheists, like, look, this is the only thing that stops them from fighting each other, by showing by signaling to each other that they're above us atheists. That's the only time that at least they could be united against people that don't even have that. They don't even have God. Do you see what I mean? Oh, you're muted. Do you guys have
someone's at the door?
Oh, okay. Shaking me saying, Armin, let there be a moment. Okay, fine. Wait, okay, I will stop. I'll stop being picky for one session. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I had someone at the door and the
no, people in the live chat are telling me that I need to stop being so picky over everything.
No. Okay, so the cousins. No, he's got a point also. But where I learned the term that we're cousins is from a Jewish rabbi. He says, the Muslims and the the Jews, we are cousins from a theological basis and brothers and sisters in humanity. So we
I
accept
added
that.
the humanity. Okay, so
And you are
what are
also
the
my brother
cousins?
in humanity.
Okay, good. No, but I just wanted to let you know. I'm not saying you're doing that. I just wanted you to be, because you're trying to understand people. I just wanted you to be aware of that feeling that so many atheists might have. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
so that
no.
you're aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got interviews lined up with some atheists also this week coming up, so that should be good too. Yeah, no, but it's been good. But I met he was born Jewish and also Iranian at the time of the regime change also. So we were going through his story, and that was fascinating and painful to understand also. But yeah, so I understand also, and I also appreciate in certain places there is certain derived hatred, that's infused in the culture and society towards others. So I think that's something I have to be more aware of also. So when I'm talking to someone like Ridwan, obviously I'm from a state where we stay away from extremists in terms of people that are of a certain ilk, and I have to be aware also of certain territories where views are very dangerous also.
Do you want me to tell you something that might make you sympathize with Redwood over the way he reacted?
No, I actually know about his personal stuff also.
Right.
That so when these sort of situations happen, I understand that it also has a deep impact on him
No,
personally.
but imagine if you were the subject of, because he's obviously very famous and he gets so many threats, so many attacks, and they are vile. Okay, not just against him, but his family as well. They're vile, right? So, and imagine if you had that experience, right? And imagine after going through something like that and being exposed to how vile this world is, okay? This whole attitude is. Somebody coming and saying, like, yes, but, okay? So it wouldn't really, like, from an emotional perspective, do you see, like, how it just seems like a downplaying of how hellish that experience is, even if you don't mean it like that, even if you don't intend it like that, right? any any attempt to whitewash that whole experience and be like, well, no, they're Muslim, like, it just feels like you're denying. It might come across to him as you denying that experience. Do you understand? From an
Yeah,
emotional perspective.
yeah. Well, yeah, I understand it. I know it was difficult. Look, I think we both had a bad day at the office. Essentially,
Yeah.
Harris kind of said, "Listen, man, you're both out of character today." Because I was having a bad one also. I'd had a couple of days of this, people throwing it back in my face, and I felt like just me being quiet would have been a lot easier. I didn't have to say anything. I could have kept quiet, and I'd have had a nice 3 peaceful days doing other stuff that I enjoy instead of arguing over the internet. And so by the time I got to him, I was really quite fed up with it. And so that's what happened. We
i'm
both had a
actually
bad day
i'm actually very
at the office.
surprised on how much, given how kind and delicate you are, okay, this doesn't seem like an environment you would want to come into and make videos, okay? So I think it's admirable that even though you are like this, you're still making an attempt, right? So you should be proud, I think, because it's not easy for somebody like you to come to this, like come into a battlefield, especially, like this, you know what I mean? So
I
kudos.
believe that we do have common goods, like common things that are definitely worth fighting and standing by each other on. And I want to explore those things, and tally them up.
Yeah, so Troel, for example, in the live chat saying it reminds me of when Muslims in India were killed over beef, and Muslims were understandably scared, and Hindutva were and Hindutva extremists saying, "Yeah, but jihad jihad, like, yeah, but like, you know
Yes,
what I mean?
agreed.
So
I
yeah,
think when something like this has happened, even if you have to add nuance to the point, I think you must first go on and comfort the other side that, okay, we are with you, but there is nuance. It should be more in that way instead of saying that, no, you're lying, there's nuance, and look, we are good, and these are fringe. I think the better way would be to go to them and comfort them. And when the tide is over, then say that, okay, there's nuance in this too, if there is
yeah.
nuance.
Um, Ferdinand Muslim, do you mind if I good point, Sajid? Sajid. Do you mind if I ask you why you do? What's your goal?
I kind of I saw things being very toxic. Um, there were things happening. I thought there needed to be voice. There needed to be communication. Man, you're part of the story also. I didn't even realize. So I called in a couple of times. I spoke to um another ex-Muslim, and sort of we had a conversation, and we disagreed on our points. But after that interaction, I kind of went, man, in normal life, could I have a coffee with this guy? If we went to like in Starbucks or someone like that, no plugs for any particular place, but could we sit down and have a coffee together? I go, yeah, we could do. Like, what are the things that we kind of have in common? And so I wanted to. That was the start of me having conversations. Um, and then also I in the ex-Muslim space, I also found where people had suffered. And then thought, well, how can I talk to Muslims and kind of make sure that we're doing things better, because there are educational things that need to have been implemented like 5 to 10 years ago, in the Muslim spaces also, better dialogue, better conversations, there are things I feel should have been done. Then I also saw on both sides, like I also saw how badly ex-Muslims were being attacked also. And I thought, well, Muslims shouldn't really be behaving like this in terms of some of their comments, because that's not the standard of how we should be. And so I started defending ex-Muslims also. Um, then one person actually did a story about ex-Muslims being a bit rowdy and being responsible for attacks on Muslims. And I found one of your videos and I emailed the person and I said, this isn't right. Look at the way this guy speaks. These people are not, and I've never come across them inciting any type of violence. So I actually sent you a video, and the guy edited out the parts that he had said afterwards.
Oh
So
wow, kudos to
yeah, and
him.
you were a part of that story. So, and this was like a year and a half, 2 years ago, basically.
Interesting.
So yeah, and then obviously I saw you from Speaker's Corner. I saw you having, like, even with Abbas, you were arguing, but you kind of hugged him and embraced him, and So I was like, you know, we really have to focus on the the parts of humanity we have in common, and that's been the journey. So I've been on a journey also, and also I wanted to speak to every single ex-Muslim and see who's legitimate, who wasn't, who we could actually work with, and that was my journey. So I ended up. You were the last one that I got to speak to, but in the meantime, I started speaking to Harris, and me and Harris started building up a relationship also, and
Mm.
Noria, and that's where we've led to. So you were the final one. Actually, you were the only one left on my list of my grading, and look what happened. So here we are.
Yeah.
A few moments later, they were laughing and joking around. But yeah, no, that's the story. So now after Ridwan, I was planning on giving up YouTube,
Mm.
or just not speaking to ex-Muslims, not condemning anything. I was like, sod it. It's not. I don't think it's my bag. But then I spoke to Harris, spoke to Derek, spoke to some senior Muslim voices, and they kind of said, no, we want you to build the channel, the friend zone, and we want you to be a bridge, and let's start making efforts to hold these conversations. So that's what happened. And here we are 2 weeks later.
I really think like it might be now your responsibility to continue, because a voice like yours is like very missing, you know. I'm kidding, by the way. It's not your responsibility. But
No,
like
no, no.
it's
But
like
I mean, it's. I'm getting endorsements by both sides, so I really feel that both sides secretly may want to have good conversations,
let me
and
find
maybe
it.
this can be the start of it.
Yeah, I really think like a voice like yours is exactly what's missing right now. So I really hope you continue what you're doing. But I can't find your every time I'm subscribed to your channel, but you're the but no, I can never. I'm trying to recommend it to everybody, but you chose a name that is so common that when you search for it, the last
Yeah,
thing that shows up is your channel. So I don't know what to search for.
I'll,
What should people search for too?
I'll find friendly Muslim, and then I've got links and everything. I'll give you the.
There must be an easier way to make your channel visible.
Or after 100, then I can make a URL,
Oh,
a
friendly
tiny
Muslim.
URL. Yeah, here's the friend zone, but send it. I want everyone to go to the friend zone.
See, when I search for friendly Muslim, the friendly ex-Muslim shows up. Oh no, I found it. Okay, so I shouldn't be okay. Never mind. I shouldn't have been searching for the friend zone. I should have just searched for friendly Muslim. There we go. Found it. Okay, good. So guys, here's the link. Go subscribe to this channel, and if you if you don't share the friendly Muslims channel, you're a hypocrite for complaining that, oh, why are Muslims not condemning this? Where are the voices of Muslims saying that? Okay, because
Go to
now
the
we
friend
have a
zone. Friend zone. That's
yeah.
the place for atheists, and there's no Islamic stuff. There's no fluffy stuff. It's for
Oh, the
the
friend
friends.
zone.
Yeah,
Oh, you
but
have
go in.
two channels.
I've got 3,
Oh
but
my
it's in the
god.
private chat. Um,
Oh my god.
I've put it in the
Okay.
private chat, but the friend zone is
You're
where I
making
want.
this very difficult. Okay, if you want people to go to friend zone. Okay, here, new link.
Yeah,
Friend
can you
zone.
share the screen and show people also? Because I've got 10 interviews up so far.
Oh yeah, okay, let me do that. God, this channel is hard to find.
It's
This is
new, Baba. It's a newborn baby.
No,
It's a
it's the
new
name.
babushka.
It's the name. If it's the name of the channel, the friend zone, your friendly Muslim channel is easier to find. But there's so many videos about girls friend zoning you and friend zoning philosophy and all that stuff. So that's why it's harder to find this one. So guys, just like here's the link.
Yeah,
Okay,
see,
go subscribe.
Jacob is the Jewish Iranian that I spoke to. Lovely guy.
Mhm.
He's going to introduce me to more people. He said, I want more Jewish people to have conversations. So, she's a who went back to, forgot about the Trinity. She's got a beautiful story. She actually gave her home to a Muslim. So she's a Christian. She let go of the Trinity, focused on being God centric, and ended up helping a Muslim family. So that was a nice story. So yeah, there's some interesting people coming on and reaching out at the moment. So
Good.
please
This is
subscribe
good.
to the Friend Zone, and interviews. Let's get together. Let's have good conversation.
In live chat, they're saying it's too sweet. This is too sweet. Okay. No, but seriously, guys, if you guys are saying like, why are not Muslims saying this or saying that? Okay, well, the friendly Muslim is saying, and this is his channel, the Friend Zone. So if you're not sharing this, then means that you shouldn't be complaining about it anymore. Okay, so please. He only has 76 subscribers. Like, guys, make sure this increases. Do something about this. Again, I put the link in the description. Help us out. Help us grow this channel. Anyway, Satya has been quiet all this time. Like, Satya,
Yes.
we haven't let him speak at all. Satya.
I sent you a link in the private chat. Can you open it?
Which one? There's a couple.
The last one.
Chip. Okay.
So the thing is that in the last Q&A, I think Oxymoron made some point about Marathi Brahmins being killed after the Gandhi assassination, and I seconded that point. Not the Chitpavan one, the latest one I sent you. Oh, sorry, I
Oh,
didn't
the
send you.
later.
I
You
didn't
didn't
send it
say
to
that.
you. I'm sending it to you. Yeah. So I seconded the point. So I think it's only fair that I like prove my point and provide the evidence
Oh,
for it.
the anti-Brahmin violence, that one?
After Gandhi's death.
Wait. Anti-Brahmin violence. Why is it not? Okay. This?
Yes, after Gandhi's murder by Nathuram Godse, given a Brahmin himself a Brahmins in Maharashtra. That line.
Okay, so it says after Gandhi's murder by Narathram Godse, right? Did I
Nathuram
read it?
Godse. Nathuram Godse.
Nathuram Godse, himself a Brahmin. Brahmins in Maharashtra in 1948 became targets of violence, mostly by some elements from Maratha caste.
Maratha.
Maratha caste. A political
VM.
some
Wait, let me read it. I'm like better with Hindi names. VM Sirsikar, a political scientist at the University of Pune, noted that it will be too much to believe that the riots took place because of the intense love of Gandhiji on the part of Marathas. Godse became a very convenient hate symbol to damn the Brahmins and burn their properties. I think the last point is only like worth mentioning. In Satara alone, about 100 houses were burnt in about 300 villages. There were cruel, cold-blooded killings, as well as, for example, one family whose last name happened to be Godse, the same as the killer, had 3 of its male members killed. Brahmins suffered from serious physical violence as well as economic violence in form of looting. I think that's enough proof.
yeah.
Well, it's from a
I mean,
book.
I
It's like
didn't.
no, I think
I mean, I.
whenever I give a point, I think I should provide some proof. I'm not like assigning any
Oh.
malice to you, but I think I should provide
Oh,
some
this
proof
one.
on my
Okay,
side.
okay. No, no. Yeah, okay, sure. So you're saying don't just like, oh, because Susanna was saying like I don't know if this is what you're saying is credible. Okay, so
Yes,
that's what
yes,
you're
yes,
saying. So
for
you
that.
wanted to provide proof. Okay, but technically, Susanna didn't say this is not true. Susanna was just saying that she's not going to just accept
Oh, yes,
the.
I know,
Yeah.
but
Okay. So
after
you're
she looks
saying
it
it's
up,
not
I
just a
think
claim. Here's the evidence. Okay.
yes, because you people are busy, so going after in each and every point which somebody has said, finding proof, I think it might be difficult for you. So I think it would be better on my part that I gave some references for what I say.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we also condemn that. Obviously, should we like
Yes,
give it?
of
We
course, and like
condemn attacks. I mean, these are so. Again, this is what Muslims must see. What I'm feeling right now. Okay, it's probably what Muslims, a lot of
but
modern
I'm not
Muslim
asking
like.
you to condemn it. I'm just like
I know you're not, but I'm just like I just like I was gonna. I'm about to condemn it. Okay, but when I'm condemning it, I feel ridiculous, right? Because
yes,
it's like, oh, so brave, you're condemning attacks on Brahmins, like no crap, like obviously, right? But like this feeling that why do I even need to? Why would we even say this? Like it just seems like so stupid to say it. Like oh, like it's just like claiming like day is bright and night is dark. You know what I mean?
yes,
So the feeling that you have when you say it just must be with the feeling that many modern Muslims have, right?
agreed.
Yeah. But to be fair to people like Apostle Prophet, though, he did when there were attacks on Muslims, he just came out and condemned it. He wasn't like this is obvious.
Yes,
So he's
I
not
think
being a at least he's not being a hypocrite.
yes, I don't think he's a hypocrite. I think he just lost his emotions in that moment. I think there might be a background to it, but he just lost it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's like a very bad person or something, but he just like a sudden outburst of anger just got over him.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes
Well,
sense.
what was the has the video come out from Dissent 2022 yet? Have you guys been able to?
Yes, yes. I will. We will upload it on our own channel, but right now it's on the channel Nanagolesorg if you want to go see it. But we will
Okay.
upload it on Atheist Republic as well.
Okay. Are you going to do a sort of review or dish the tea on?
We did a review. There's a video. the tea. There's a video literally called "Spilling the Tea."
Oh, okay, but I thought that was you guys. I saw that.
It has literally the cover has Susanna with a teacup. It doesn't get any more.
Okay, so can you talk about why you upset everyone? Basically, because your view was because the question I asked you last week, and I don't know if you can answer it this week now, was there any conversation about outreaching to different communities and having dialogue, basically, or better dialogue?
Yeah, no. The point that I get pissed everyone off was the feminist part. Okay, the feminism part. But no, the outreach one, I remember. I remember arguing with Assam, and he was like arguing that he's like more in favor of reforming Islam and kind of like that. Maybe like he was kind of suggesting in a friendly way that the way I talk about Islam is going to lose us, the Muslims that might be interested in these dialogue, right? Like if we talk about Islam the way I do, he didn't say it like this, but he was suggesting it. You could go watch the video. We lose them as an audience, like, and we want them to be included in, solutions and moving forward. Like people, if you tell them like Islam is this and this, the things I say, it's not good. For a lot of people, a lot of Muslims can't take it. They're just going to go away, right?
Who is that? And you need to invite him over. We need to have a full way. You, me, and Harris. Yeah. Let's get it on.
Yeah. I can read you his bio, but he's part of the Muslimish. Wissam here. This guy. This was my panel, right? So right before Richard Dawkins. This is Richard Dawkins' interview. Our panel was right before Richard Dawkins' interview, right? So this is me, and this is Wissam, right? Okay. So Wissam was arguing that we need to basically he was arguing for your type of Islam, I guess, right? Your version of Islam, and maybe being too aggressive doesn't work, right? And I was like, that's the problem, is not the way we talk about Islam, because we're basically telling the truth. The problem is the level of sensitivity that exists among Muslims, right? And that's what we need to fix. And if we don't go all out against Islam, that sensitivity will always remain longer at least, and it will continue having difficulties with conversations about Islam, right? So I'm like, instead of like trying to basically tiptoe around it, go all in against Islam until they get used to it. Like if you want to make them feel welcome and comfortable, you should actually be doing what I'm doing, okay? You could be making them feel welcome and comfortable through other things other than the way you talk about Islam, right? Like if you want Muslims to feel safe, comfortable, and welcome, then, I don't know, be friends with them. Invite them to parties, include them in projects, make them feel heard, make them feel, do all of that stuff, but not your tone about Islam. Because we don't, everything except that, because we don't do that about our other beliefs, right? So for example, we had a very similar, it was very interesting, because I believe in capitalism, okay, and I'm also an atheist, right? It's very interesting that from a religious person's perspective, if you come out and say, I don't know, atheism is crap, you feel like you're personally attacking me as an individual. But if you say capitalism is crap, you don't feel like you're attacking me as an individual, even though those are just different positions I have on different things. Like, so none of them is like really my identity, right? My major part of my identity, right? But because as a religious person, you think like atheism is kind of like the equivalent of someone's religion, you feel like, oh, because my religion is such a major part of my identity, and somebody attacks them to get hurt, this guy might also feel the same thing with atheism. So I'm personally insulting him if I go after atheism. But you don't feel the same thing if you go after capitalism. You feel like, okay, I just like, why would he get hurt? This is just my views on capitalism, right? So, and I just want religious people at some point to understand that the rest of the world, when they are attacking the religion, they are not necessarily attacking them as people, right? And they should learn to tell the difference between the people who are using the religion as an excuse to come after them as people. Like there are people who are bigots, xenophobes, right? That their issue is not with Islam, their issue is with Muslims. And they're using Islam as an excuse to go and demonize Muslims, right? And there are other people that actually are capable of being friendly with Muslims, okay? And their issue is with Islam. And they don't want to be tone police about how they're talking about Islam, right? And a lot of Muslims, they just need to start getting used with in a world where everything is connected and people are hearing each other. You have to just get used to this, that people are going to have views very aggressively about Islam, and you're not going to have a very comfortable life if your ears are so sensitive. Okay, so just grow up and just learn to accept your, not just people, but maybe even your friends having very aggressive views about your religion. It's okay. You're going to survive this. You're going to be okay. All right. If somebody's being friendly to you, if somebody's going out with you and sharing a meal with you, but at the same time is having a very aggressively negative view about your religion, that person is not a threat to you. Okay? Just get used to it. It's okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so how did that go down when you presented it to your audience?
Well, I mean, it didn't go as well as I didn't explain it as well as I did right now, because it's really hard to talk when you have on a panel with multiple people and everybody's like cutting each other. So what I just told you is, if I was able to explain it, I would. This is what I wish I could say, but I basically said just a fragment of what I just told you now. Like, you could go watch it, right? And obviously he wasn't convinced, but I don't blame him, because I didn't get to make my full point. But he thinks it's just not the way I do it. It's just not constructive. But he's
can you invite him for a conversation?
Yeah, that would be great. Actually, I mean, I have had debates about reform in this very topic many times. So
I think it would be good.
I had this debate with Sam Harris on this channel.
I saw that too. Yes.
Yeah.
Plus, you had that debate with Kushal Mehra too, right? I don't think it was a
Yes.
debate. I think it was more of a discussion.
Yeah. So Sam Harris disagrees with me in this.
Man, I'm gonna have to do a review video then, and review some of your stuff, and then put that on the friend zone, if you don't mind. Like, review a few bits and pieces, and
I will share it. Do a review and I will share it. Yeah.
Most of the
Hindutva,
Hindutva are on the reform side too, like Kushal Mehra and Sham Sharma and many more people. They prefer, like in India, there are a lot of ex-Muslims coming, and there is a group. There are basically two groups. There are the Trads and the Raitas. Raitas is basically the word given to liberal Hindutva by the Trads, and Trads is the word given to the Trads by liberal Hindutva. So the Raitas prefer the reformist types, and the Trads prefer the ex-Muslim type. So that's a big debate in Hindutva right now too. Plus, there is this guy, something I don't remember. He is like an anti-Hindutva guy. He's saying I'm a little fan of Balasaheb Thackeray, and I guess he was a Maratha too. Well, Balasaheb Thackeray wasn't a Maratha. I think he was a Kayas, but somebody being anti-Hindutva and being a fan of Balasaheb Thackeray is a very big thing. The guy was like in Mumbai. There used to be these Hindu-Muslim riots, and he was the face of the Hindu side in those things. He was basically the response to Muslim street power. Many people do idealize him, but I think if there are riots occurring and your solution is to like kill more innocent, I don't know, I'm not saying he used to kill innocent people get very offended by this, but if the solution of one side is to kill more innocent people, I think it is a sign of weakness. The real sign of strength is to go and beat up those people who are like doing the bad things or handing them to the police.
Yeah, I made the same kind of point in my Andrew Tate video. I don't know if you guys saw.
Who's Andrew Tate?
Oh my god. Never mind. Are
You
you
don't
guys
know
not
who
watching?
Andrew Tate is?
You guys, he knows he's making a joke. I think.
Oh,
Okay, I just knew about him last week.
Are you guys watching my edited videos at all? I'm like putting a lot of
yeah,
work into my
I
editing.
watch them.
I'm watching some of them.
Yeah.
I watched
You
the
should be watching
Ali
all
Dawah
of them.
one.
What do you mean some of them?
Yeah, why are you not watching all my
Like,
videos? I'm putting so much
are
work
your
into the edit.
notifications not on?
Because
Yeah,
no,
guys, hit
I
the
don't.
bell
What's wrong with you,
notification.
Satya?
They're short. I'm making them short so you watch them. I'm like going through a lot of editing hours just so that you finish watching them.
I see
How
like
dare
all the
you?
videos. I saw the cast video too and everything from that. But Andrew Tate's videos are just so cringe that I cannot bring myself to watch them.
Well, not my review of him. That's not cringe. Watch it.
Okay, I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay.
What do you think about these people? I mean, like the people. There is a guy named Gopal Patha, and when partition was happening, the Muslim League, which was led by Jinnah, they were not like getting their demands met, so they decided a direct action day, and their plan was to like kill so many Hindus that it will rile up the leadership, and they'll have to give in Pakistan to Jinnah. So they announced the partition day. I'm sorry, the direct action day, and the Muslim side started killing so many Hindus. And Gopal Patha was like, "We'll kill up so many Muslims that you cannot, you'll have to stop." And then he started his own campaign. And in the end, the Muslim side had to come to him and say that, okay, we are like going to be in a truce with you, and we don't kill anyone.
When
I
was
think
this?
in partition, before the partition.
Before the partition. I mean, you're asking me what my views are on somebody who was killing a whole bunch of people. Like, I mean, you don't want to.
Not, I know, but even I think that it is bad. But what do you think? What do you give to the opinion that it was reactionary, hence justified? I don't justify this view because I think a better reaction would be to go after the people who were doing it. But what are your views on it?
You mean you're killing is reactionary, and your reaction is you're holding people collectively responsible for the crimes that they didn't commit just because of the group that they belong to?
Yes.
I mean, obviously that's like
But
horrific.
what are you then going to say that it stopped the Muslim side from rioting? Hence, it is good. Like it could be in a utilitarian calculation that because it stopped the rioting and brought the Muslim side to its knees, hence it is justified. Like I don't justify it. I think a better way would be to go after the people who are doing it.
Let me ask you. Okay, so let me ask you a similar question. Okay. So the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right?
Yes.
That probably saved more people than it killed.
Yes.
Okay, because it ended the war with Japan. Japan basically bent the knee and submitted right after that. Okay.
Yes.
But if the atomic bombs weren't dropped, if the war between Japan and America continued, the casualties from that would have been probably higher than the people that died from the atomic bomb. Okay.
Yes.
If this is okay, so I'm asking you now. I'm throwing this question back at you.
Okay.
Do you think if this is true, dropping the atomic bombs were justified?
Okay, I think the firebombing of Tokyo took more lives than the bombs. I've just heard it somewhere.
No. I'm
just giving the background to it. So if they had such powerful firebombing capabilities, I think they could have bombed the king's palace and the military facilities. And the same logic I'm using in the Hindutva case, that you could have gone after the top officials and assassinated them.
Let's focus on, because the Hindutva case people, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, let's focus on this Japan example. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so people are saying it made many generations crippled. Yes, I know it made many generations crippled, but the cost of the war continuing with Japan, the number of casualties might have been, like, our people argue that it would have been much higher. Okay, so if this is true, it was dropping the atomic bombs justified?
No, I think they could have done it in a better way. They could have dropped it on the king's palace, or they could have just
let's say that if you done it any other way, because this was such a massive shock to Japan. Okay. Yes. Nothing else would have made them just like, okay, we quit. Everything else would have been, we will continue the war, we might win. When they saw the 2 atomic bombs, they just like, we're out, let's end the war. Okay. So this was such a shocking event that made Japan just surrender. Right. So let's say there was no other way to produce this level of shock for Japan to surrender. Does that mean that the atomic bombs were justified?
I'm like I'm trying to I'm thinking that there are so many more possibilities. If you want to scare those people, then it is not scare the king. Then it is
Let's
not
say
necessary.
this was the only
You're saying that
thing.
if it was like a binary, drop the bomb or kill more people,
Yeah.
then I don't know. I don't know what we can do in this binary, but I definitely know that if you want to scare the king, you can just like drop the bomb on some fields or in the ocean to just ocean near his palace or somewhere near his palace.
No. The cost to Japan was so. If you drop the bomb in the ocean, then the enemy looks like it's not willing to take that cost. Okay.
No, it's like a warning.
Okay, but
What makes the bombing?
let's say, if you've done
Yes.
anything else, the war would have continued. Would that make the atomic bomb justified?
I didn't hear the last part.
Let's say anything short of dropping the atomic bombs on two cities would have made the
Yes.
war continue and had higher casualties. Would that make the atomic bombs justified?
Like higher casualties than in the like you're saying that on this side there would have been more misery than the crippling of people and the people killed in the
Yeah.
bombing. I think provided that the casualties were of soldiers and not of most civilians, I think it would still not be more justified. If it is civilian to civilian comparison, that if the war went on for longer and more civilians had died than in the bombing.
Oh, you're saying the ratio of the okay. What if it had
I'm
more?
saying that-
What if the total civilian killed were still more? Like, and if you only count the civilians, if the war as a whole took more civilians than the atomic bomb, would then the atomic bomb be justified?
I think I'm digging my own grave, but
Yeah.
I think that if the motive of
If you don't want to
scaring
say it live on air, don't say
I
it.
can.
I refuse to
I'm
answer.
not even showing my face, neither my real name. So what have I got to be afraid of? So uh, I think if it was not done to scare away the USSR and Stalin, to say that we have so much power, I think in that case it could have been justified, because if civilian lives are on both sides of the weight, then I think it could be justified.
Friendly
Provided-
Muslim, do you think? Let me see what. So you're saying you could have been justified, but friendly Muslim, what do you think?
Provided it's a civilian to civilian comparison.
Civilians, friendly Muslim, do you agree? You might not be.
Yeah, no, I've got to nip out for a second and come back if you're still here.
Okay.
But I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Well, I'm gonna have to end the stream soon. Okay, so I would say even then it would not be justified. Okay, because when you're doing a utilitarian calculation, you have to also take into account the consequences of when you are coming up with a ruling for whether something is justified or not.
Yes.
The consequences of the ruling should also be calculated. Do you know what I mean?
What does it mean? No.
So, for example, you're saying like, okay, in this scenario, the using of atomic bombs are justified. Okay, but when you are uttering that, like, so it's not like a vacuum. Like, we are talking about a scenario, right? That were like, these are the costs, these are the benefits. Okay, but what you didn't calculate is the consequences of us coming out and saying, just uttering the statement that the use of atomic bombs are sometimes justified. That has consequences beyond the scenario that we just explained.
Okay, so you're saying that it might be justified for them, but it is not justified for us to say that it's justified.
Yeah. So us saying that the use of atomic bombs is justified, that if that becomes a belief that is sometimes justified, the consequences of that becoming the norm for people to understand that, for people to understand, okay, sometimes atomic bomb using it is justified, that has consequences in society.
Yes, but wouldn't that be equal to lying to your
No, you're not lying. No, you're not lying to your audience, because when you're doing a utilitarian calculation, you're counting all the costs, including the cost of telling them that the atomic bombs usage is justified. So when you're saying it's not justified, you're being honest, because you're taking that cost into account as well.
Okay, so basically you're saying that in your mind it's justified, but you cannot say it out loud
No,
because it might
no, in
set a
my
trend.
even in my mind is not justified, because I'm making, when I'm saying it's not justified, I'm making a utilitarian calculation, and in my utilitarian calculation, I'm taking into account the consequences of saying that it's justified as a cost, and because I'm taking that into the account, the cost will outweigh the benefits. So when I say it's not justified, all I'm saying is that the cost outweighs the benefit. So even in my mind, it will not be justified. Does that make
But
sense?
in your mind, the act of saying is not justified, right? But you
No,
thinking
in
that,
my mind, if my in my okay, in isolation, okay,
yes.
if it didn't have that effect, I could say
Okay,
like it would.
let's assume
Yeah.
that your thoughts will not go outside and will not set any kind of trend, and it will not leak anywhere, and this decision will only stay limited to this decision only. Then
Yeah,
in your mind,
but it will. Here's the thing: when you are uttering, when you are saying it, okay, so you're saying in a vacuum, if it had no influence on the outside world, like it was completely blinded to the outside world, right? But as
yes,
soon as you as a judge are looking into that vacuum, you have
yes,
already um, like opened that seal. Do you know what I mean?
yes, yes, yes,
Because
I
now
get
you're
it.
looking in, so you're like, oh, it's completely covered from the outside world. Well, then I can't judge it because I can't see it. But like, oh no, you can see it. Well, I'm outside of it and I'm now looking in, so you have basically you have opened the door to the outside world, because I have to see it as a
Yes.
judge, because I'm outside of it. And because I'm outside of it, my judgment will also be outside of it, and because my judgment is outside of it, I have to consider the consequences of my judgment.
Okay, so yes, this was the that vegan argument that you used against that vegan guy. Vegan guy was saying
Yeah.
that. Yes, I remember this. But the thing is that uh, if I keep it in my mind and not say it out loud because it can set a trend, then what's the problem with that?
Say that again.
Like if it is in my mind that I have run some utilitarian calculations,
Mhm.
counted the number of civilian casualties, and ruled out the possibility of an ulterior motive, and done all the calculations, and if after that, without the fear of me setting a
Okay,
trend, I come up
but
with that
even in that
decision.
scenario, like you're thinking about a scenario where the people who want to like carry out that attack, they are saying that to the world that this was a justified action. So they're communicating to the world, like, what are they doing? Are they just setting it off without like needing to justify it to the world? That's also bad, because it like means like you could just using a bulb without communicating. Like even in that environment, if like you're
Yes.
looking at it like, okay, I'm not going to say anything to the world, but it seemed like it was justified here, right? But are
Yes.
they, the people who are doing it, are they not going to say that this was justified, that the action that we committed? Are they not communicating to the world that this was justified, that we committed this?
But they are saying, but the judge is still, they are not like taking their argument as a fact of like as something written in the Bible or something given down by God. They
Okay,
are like taking,
so they're saying it's not justified.
no, the other people who are like judging that action in that specific scenario are taking the arguments of the bomber and taking them through the filter of their own mind and running a calculation in their own mind and then doing it and
What
then
you
coming
can
up with
what you
the
can
judgment.
say is that, because first of all, like the intentions matter, right? Because you cannot, when you want to do a utilitarian calculation of an action,
Yes.
even though it ends up being positive, if the intentions was not to cause that positive, if you say, well, this was justified because the intentions were something that more often consider create something negative, you still have to condemn it. For example, let's say, for example, you shoot at traffic, right?
Okay.
You start shooting a gun at traffic, right? And it just happens to hit a driver that had a child in the kidnapped a child in the trunk, and he just died, and he hit his car, and supposed to go and abuse the child and then kill it, right? And you
Yes.
just randomly shoot in the traffic, and you just happen to save that child's life, okay?
Yes. I
But you
think
had
it's
no
not
idea. You
justified.
were, yeah. So you can't say like, oh, this was justified,
Yes.
right?
That's why I said that
So
you have to make sure that no ulterior motives are involved while pushing that nuclear button.
Right. So first of all, that was not the motivation,
Yes,
right?
agreed. That was not the motivation of the bombing.
All right. So first of all, you can't say that's justified. Okay. But also, because whoever does this, even if that was their motivation, okay, they themselves cannot be, if they want to justify it, all right, they would have to
Yes,
communicate to the world that this is justified. Like they would have to say this is justified, and that would
yes,
cause the same nor normalizing the use of nuclear bombs, which is horrifying. Like even what I'm saying, even if in one scenario, it might be the benefit might be outweighing the cost, because as a
yes,
whole, if we accept this, the consequences to the world is so negative, then we have to not do that. Even in that one instance, that it might make the world a better place. We have to say, like, even if we have to forego the benefits so that we don't create a new norm of using nuclear weapons in the world. So just live with that cost, because the alternative is so much worse.
okay. I think yes. I think that that scenario is also very much valid, but I'm just thinking that even when this norm was set by the United States, there has been no nuclear war from since 70 years, and the thing
Yeah,
is that
because we
I
didn't
don't know.
justify it.
Yes, but
Because
the
of,
people who
yeah.
did, they were surely justifying it. That's what I'm saying. The even if the person who pushed the button of the nuclear bomb, like the nuclear control of the nuclear bomb, even if he
Yeah,
justifies it and gives arguments, I think the people should be more
yeah.
understanding
So
and
even so, yeah. No. What I'm saying is that one reason why that we no nuclear war happening again ever again is because the world condemned it,
yes,
right?
yes,
So I'm saying that me and you should also be part of the people condemning it, even
yes,
if it end up happening more benefits than costs, because the act of condemning it has been proven to be effective. So let's
yes,
not
agreed.
justify it and say, yeah, okay. Sorry.
Yes,
All right.
I'm surely saying that we should not justify it, but I'm saying that in a closed room when we are like deciding how angry we have to be on something, I think this must be a little bit lower on the list.
Oh, I mean, we can't be angry. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it is. Being angry, we're just doing a utilitarian calculation. I'm not saying we should be angry at all. Like, it's in the past,
No,
obviously.
but some people
Yeah,
do get angry at this. I'm like, I personally don't get angry over these things, but
yeah.
the
No, I
people who
know.
do, if they have to like get
I'm
angry at, they have to make a list of from 1 to 10. I think the
yeah.
bombing, they should be a little bit angry about this, but they should not be very enthusiastic about it.
I mean, you can
Like it
still be
is,
angry. I mean, you can be angry about the fact that we have to live in a world where we have to weigh these things. You could be angry about that. I think, like, you're like, oh, should we kill millions of people or like tens of millions of people? Like, I mean, that justifiable anger that this is like this. These are the alternatives. Like, so I think it's fine.
Oh,
It's fine to
yes.
be angry.
another
I
happy
sent you a
topic.
link about that guy. Uh, I sent you a link about that guy, the guy I was talking about in Bengal. Like I
All
sent you a
right.
link, the link in the private chat, but the guy was living in Bengal.
Thank you.
Satya, let's make it simple. Krishna was cursed by Gandhari for the war for better, even though the war was justified and much needed. Something is my man.
I think basically we should always condemn mass killing of people. Always, always.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
By the way, I think something I don't remember is an anti-Hindutva guy. I don't know why he's like so much into Hindutva and stuff. I mean, so praise him about Hindutva.
Wait, what? Say that again.
Can you highlight his comment?
Oh,
It's
here.
like a very Indian kind of joke.
This last one.
Yes. So basically, Gandhari is the evil guy. The evil guy in the Mahabharata. His mother's name was Gandhari, and Krishna was being the god. He could have like used his godly powers to stop the war, but he chose to only use his humanly powers to try to stop the war, in which he failed. And then later, the Gandhari cursed him that you didn't use your godly powers, and he said that basically I did whatever I could have done in my humanly powers because when I enter into the God mode, it's like confusing. But whenever I enter into God mode, I have to make the calculation that the people coming in the future have to see this example to know what has happened. And since they are all part of me, all their like suffering has become a part of me, and and he gave some justifications about it, but he was cursed by Gandhari that your whole lineage will be destroyed. So this is a joke from that.
Okay, I see. All right, you're getting into too much niche stuff that people don't understand, Satya. Like you should be getting too detailed. Anyways, I want to end the stream here unless Friendly Muslim has anything to say. Do you want
Let's read
No,
the page that I sent you.
But no, that's too. These are too specific. People are gonna be like, "What are these things?" I don't know.
Okay.
Let me just read it really quick. Fine. This one.
Yes, the last one. Role during the riots. 2.1.
Oh, 2.1. Where is it? Okay. On the morning of August 6th, incidents of stabbing and rioting started in the city. Gopal heard of trouble while he was on his way to his shop. He rushed back to his locality where he saw Muslim League rioters marching with long sticks in their hands. When the news of Hindus being killed reached him, he assembled his men and ordered them to retaliate, answer brutally with brutality. He clearly instructed that for one murder committed, they should commit 10 murders. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. This guy.
That's what, even in this case, many of the people go and justify it. But I think it would have been better if he had this much power, he could have easily gone after the leaders, namely Mujibur Rahman.
I mean, obviously, all of this will condemn. I condemn. No, I don't know who justifies this. It's ridiculous that people justify this. People are justifying just randomly killing people for association within a group. Like you kill one of ours, I kill 10 of yours. This is collective mindset. Like
yes,
yeah. I don't know. There are few things in world when it comes to belief systems that are more destructive than collectively holding a group responsible for the actions of some of them within that group. We have reptile brains. I don't know how our mindset, how our brain still to this day keeps thinking like that. I think my mind is just broken in a good way, because the fact that, no, seriously, I think there's something flawed about my brain, because I keep not being able to understand it. But it seems like a human brain was designed to think like this. Like evolution, from an evolutionary perspective, back when we lived in the wild, this made the human tribes stronger, right? Right now, it's such a mess. It's such a costly way of thinking. Like, okay, what does this guy, I didn't do anything. Why are you blaming me? Oh, because your ancestors are what the hell? What? Huh? What do I got to do with me? Just the way this collective mindset is so fundamentally inherent within people's brains that it's hard to logic your way out of it. It's just like a feeling people have, and they just want to do guilt by association. So if I don't have it, it's not because if I don't have it, it's not necessarily because I'm thinking more logically. There are some of us that just don't feel that. There's some of us we're kind of like mutations
yes.
Just we're like the black sheep, and we're just supposed to keep the society, our role is to just keep the society on its toes, just to introduce new things, just like mutations are supposed to do. And a lot of times we're actually destructive rather than constructive, just like mutations are. So we just don't feel it. People like me just don't feel it. Other people who feel like rebels, they don't feel the way we're supposed to feel. And we're the odd ones out. But yeah, what's your theory?
I think it is a process of evolution where we are the human mind is getting more and more used to the developed world where we don't need to generalize more people.
You're wrong.
Why?
You don't understand. No, that you're wrong, because you believe in a Lamarckian view of evolution rather than a Darwinian one. The world today is not changing our genes in the way that you're thinking. We're not adapting to the new progressive world through evolution unless they're killing the ones who don't adapt. Do you see?
Yes. Isn't the process of evolution when the higher, I'm saying higher, it's a bad word, but when the better and higher, both are bad words, but when the newer person comes into the gene pool, his children replace the ones with inferior genes, and that's what evolution is, right?
That happens only when the people with inferior genes are either dead before they can procreate, or somehow are stopped from procreating.
Yes.
Do you
So
see that happening
no,
in the
because
modern world?
we are in the developed world, and you by not having kids, you basically
Okay,
you basically
so
stopped
yeah,
your
in
better
fact,
genes from going into
so
the gene flow.
it's the so basically what you're saying is the opposite. So you're like, oh, the world is progressing, so we're evolving to adapt to
Yes.
this new world. But I'm like, no, that's not happening, because in fact, people who are more modern actually have less kids. So if
Yes.
anything, if anything, you would expect to see the opposite, right?
Yes. I think the opposite is happening, which was not meant to happen. Like
No,
not meant to
it's not
happen in the
evolution.
evolutionary way.
No, okay, evolution is not. There's no meant to be. Like evolution doesn't have a goal.
Yeah.
There's
Yes,
no.
that's true
There's
too.
yeah. It just goes away. It's just like you pour water on a surface, and it just goes in the whatever
Okay,
direction that it.
let's put it
Yeah.
like this. People with similar genes to you in matter of thinking should be like more in the world, and they should have more kids. But because of development and higher GDP per capita, they are having less kids, which is like going into reverse evolution mode.
No, I
Instead of
mean,
becoming new,
I think it's fine. I think it's fine because what's happening, because people don't understand. Okay, people are more impacted by their environment than their when it comes to their views and beliefs than their
genetics.
genetics. Okay, so even if my brain is broken in some way, people who get exposed to other people who think like that, they do get influenced by them significantly, right? So
Yes.
in fact, it might be good that this is like modern people. In fact, I would say that it's better for the world that modern people are having less children. Okay, because more modern countries, okay,
Yes.
if they with their lower population, they're going to depend on immigrants. Okay,
Yes.
and I want to see a flow of immigrants from these less developed countries to this more developed countries, because first it's a very effective transfer, like spreading of equalizer of wealth around the world, and it's a very good method of spreading more modern values across the world.
But
Like when the immigrants come to these more developed countries, they adapt a lot of their values and a lot of the views, and they take a lot of it back home too. So
yes,
there's
but
that.
what do you say to then the people who believe in Karl Popper's paradox that the ones who are like tolerant should not tolerate the intolerant?
Oh, I have so many debates about this one paradox, which I don't want to open that can of worm right now. Like I could, like
Okay.
I just last week I had like a 1 hour debate about this, and I could have like 5 hour debate about this. So
So
it's
basically, do
very.
you agree with it or disagree with it?
I think like it's not binary. Okay, I
Okay.
think that it's a spectrum, right? Because the paradox of tolerance could, if you think like depend like how intolerant do you want to be to intolerant people, okay, and how do you define intolerance that is threatening to freedom of to tolerance, right? Because if you give the because that seems like a recipe for you to excuse all sorts of intolerance. Like you could,
Yes.
if you accept the paradox of tolerance fully, basically you're giving yourself license to be too intolerant to anybody, and just saying that you're doing this in the name of stopping intolerance, right? Based on how
Yes.
you define what intolerance is. So it's a double-edged sword. You have to be careful.
How about we like be totally intolerant to ideas while not being intolerant to people? I think that's the
But
better way.
yeah, that's the better way. But the paradox of intolerance was about people, not about ideas.
Oh yeah. I think we should end this with oxymorons
Yeah.
comment. Collective
Well, unless
mindset is very important.
it is very important. It's very important because it's very destructive. I didn't say it's not important. But friendly Muslim, do you want to say something before we leave? Because I want to end the stream.
Yeah, no. When you do you have 5 minutes after the stream? Like when you end it, don't
Okay,
leave us.
sounds good.
You have
Yes.
kind of a quick word.
I had a
Yeah.
question about
Go.
collective mindset in the end of the stream. Why is it important?
Important in a good way or a bad way?
Good way.
Oh, it was important in a good way because the
No,
human
I'm
race
not
was
saying
not.
in the like I'm not saying in the past, like right now.
Right now, I can't think of it being good in a.
Okay, so
in a
I thought
good
you were
way.
saying that it is good in like current
No,
time.
no. Okay. So here's the thing: it's a fact of life. You can't get rid of it. Okay. So there
Yes,
are healthier ways of
dealing
satisfying
with
it,
it. Yes.
like sports. Like because we can't get rid of it. I think we could satisfy. I think like you could satisfy it using sports, using video games, stuff like that. Okay. I'm just saying, given that you need to satisfy it, please don't bring it into ethical judgments or to politics. Okay, don't bring it there. It
Yes.
doesn't okay, just keep it out of there. I'm not saying you could eliminate it, because you can't. You can't rewire people's brains. Just please satisfy your desires in sports or somewhere else.
Yes, I think I agree with that.
Okay.
Bye bye.
All right. Thank you, Satya. That was interesting. I enjoyed that conversation. All right. All right. I'm going to end the stream, guys. Make sure you like the stream. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you have bell notification, especially given that Harris will be here. Make sure you leave a comment. If you don't have anything to say for the algorithm. Just say for the algorithm, because that will help the channel grow. Okay. So it's mandatory. Okay. So it's not mandatory for you to condemn evil acts, but it is mandatory for you to be subscribed and hit the bell notification. Okay, Iblis will bless you. If you want the blessing of Iblis upon you, for people who don't know, Iblis is basically Satan. Okay, if you want the blessings of Satan, make sure you like this video. Thank you. All right, bye.